This show is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. We've been taught that having negative emotions is bad, but feeling angry, sad, or overwhelmed is normal. Visit betterhelp.com/allies and learn to process those difficult emotions.
Hello, welcome to These Allies Podcast. I'm Daniel Bloodworth, coming to you from Los Angeles, California. This week, I'm joined by Bradley Ellis.
Hi.
Michael Huber.
Yo.
And in the control room, we've got a crowd in there.
Whee!
We've got Isla Hink, Don Casanova, and Gabby. Isla, introduce Gabby.
Hi, welcome to Gabby, our new community manager. Gabby, do you want to introduce yourself?
Way far away from a mic.
She does it really well. Well, she would have to move. Gabby's amazing. She's, we have a post on our Patreon about her if you'd like to learn more. But basically, she has experience in social media management, community management, post and pre and production, TV, film and TV. She's a great fit. And yeah, even though we already knew her, she was submitted to the same arduous interview process that everyone else was. And just stayed on top of the pile, fair and square. So, yeah, be nice to Gabby, please. We love Gabby. Yeah.
Friends, we're here to discuss way too much stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
The wind
We
is
got big
pushing
drops
me.
today. Final Fantasy and Dragon's Dogma drops.
Woo!
We haven't even talked about Xbox officially on this podcast yet. The PC gaming show happened. The Capcom show happened. A whole bunch of other showcases happened. It's nuts. But before we get started, we must answer for mistakes that we made on last week's podcast. So, Isla, begin corrections music, please.
Boop.
Pay for your sins, Bloodworth.
Yeah, first one's definitely all on me. I mentioned that items are being added to Nickelodeon All-Stars in a huge update, including Sokka's boomerang. However, the character in the show pronounces his name Sokka, which is why Damiani had me repeat it, but didn't actually correct me.
The bait. The Damiani bait laying the trap. That's funny.
To be clear, if that were an actual real Japanese name, I would have been pronouncing it correctly, but I had no frame of reference.
Never wrong.
For the show. Isla started out guessing that the Game Gear used 6 batteries, then corrected herself to say 8 batteries, which Huber confirmed, but in fact the Game Gear did require 6 AA batteries.
I knew it. I knew it in my bones.
Call me next Tuesday before the group stream. I'm going to forget every time. Damn it.
Oh, for a second I was like, just to chat?
I got to bring it in.
Chat?
Oh, bring in your game.
Yeah.
Game Gear, oh yeah.
I'm going to play that thing.
When bringing up the Saints Row Boss Factory character creator demo, Huber heaped praises, saying that finally someone is doing this.
Yeah.
However, Saints Row actually has a history of this.
Yeah, they've done it like 4
released
times.
the initiation station for Saints Row the 3rd and the inauguration station for Saints Row 4. Both demos, which by the way are still available to download.
Oh. I only played Saints Row 1 and 2, so there's the gap in knowledge right there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You know what other game allowed you to customize your character in the demo and transfer it to the full game? Dragon's Dogma.
Nice.
Oh, dude.
Woohoo!
Sick. I actually booted that up last night, the Boss Factory, got into the creator, was so overwhelmed, immediately deleted. Yep, I'll need to do it like in the studio with help. I was overwhelmed.
And then Huber, I've got another one that's yours.
Nice.
In Mission to Mars, Tin Robin's helmet doesn't crack and he doesn't pop. After getting knocked off the ship, he suicides by taking off his helmet willingly.
Oh, yeah.
So that his wife, who's trying to save him, doesn't get herself killed. When he does remove his helmet, he suffocates and freezes almost instantly. He does not pop. And I went back and I looked up the clip.
Total recall.
Right? I remember it being epic.
Total recall he pops, though.
It's been like 20 years.
Almost pops.
Awesome.
And if you have a correction, leave it in the YouTube comments on either the public version or the patron version of this episode. start with the word correction and leave a timestamp so I can go back and reference what you're correcting. End corrections music.
Boop.
I probably just wanted to say the word pop
Probably.
because it's one of my favorites.
Pop.
Pop.
You do like that word.
That's a good one.
Brad,
Yeah.
we've been missing you for a little bit,
Yeah. Been
but we
gone.
got you here for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yes.
Today, they had a Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary event. They went over 4 games. Technically, they went over 5 games, really.
Oh, 5
You
games.
know?
Oh, yeah,
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 yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
Because they went over First Soldier, which is the mobile battle royale going into Season 3. They gave us another look at Ever Crisis, which is this other weird like mobile remake that like
Yeah, like,
blends
all the games
of
together.
the
Yeah.
anthology of Final Fantasy VII together, and that's going into like a closed beta later on. It's still seems like a ways off for what that
Yeah.
game is.
Yeah.
They gave us a first look at Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion,
Yeah.
which we can get you to talk about as well, which is coming, quote unquote, this winter to basically all platforms. And then they went over Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming, quote unquote, next winter. PS5 is the only thing they put on there. And then they confirmed, which the 5th one would be, that the 3rd game in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy is also
Yeah,
in the works
3 games.
already.
And the Steam version of Intermission or Intergrade coming out
They
now.
went over the
Yeah.
Steam version because it was only on Epic before on
Yep.
PC. And Katase says that development is proceeding at an astonishingly fast
Yeah.
pace. So yeah,
Good to
thoughts,
hear, yeah.
Brad.
Okay, well, there's a lot to take in. Should we go one by one with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
games or
Wherever
whatever?
you want to start. I mean, we don't have
guess
to
with
go over
First
Ever
Soldier,
Crisis
like,
and First
I don't
Soldier.
really
yeah.
know anything about it. I don't have any
Yeah.
interest in it personally, but it's cool. It's getting updates, so there's that. Ever Crisis is interesting. We did hear about this game like a year or 2 ago, and we knew it was kind of be like you said, covering the anthology of the game. We don't know how much of each game it's going to be specifically. We saw some of like the gameplay of it, like walking around the map, which looked cool.
Yeah, what's interesting is like the map screens look
Like the old
very
games?
similar to like a newly made version of the original
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so like if
definitely.
you're looking at some of the like environments,
Mm-hmm.
they just feel like they like did a more like faithful like 1-to-1 kind of thing. They're like, oh, okay, I know where that is, kind of.
Yeah, they showed like the jail cell in the Shinra building
Yeah,
and stuff
and like
that.
the more not quite chibi, but more like
yeah.
stylized character designs.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you get in the battles,
They look
and it
more
looks
like the remake. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we saw them wearing some new outfits, so I guess that'll be some monetization thing, I guess, for it. You know, skins you could probably buy. But I'm interested to see more closed beta. Like, I don't know why there's a closed beta, but maybe there's some other online elements we don't know
Yeah,
about.
why would you need a beta?
I'm not sure. Square Enix, what are you going to do? But in terms of Crisis Core, kind of surprised that it's like a remake. Like it looks much better graphically than the PSP game. And it's really
Not
great.
to like Final Fantasy VII remake level.
No. But it's like,
yeah,
it looks better for sure. It doesn't look like a remake, but it looks quite a step up. And it's great because Crisis Core has been stranded on PSP for a long time. Couldn't even buy it digitally, so you couldn't play it on your Vita or anything like that.
Right.
Like physical only, but now it's finally...
you couldn't even buy it digitally on PSP.
I don't think you could buy it. Because
Wow.
I'm pretty sure you couldn't get that in Birth by Sleep when the PSP Go came out. Mm-hmm. I think you couldn't... They weren't on the store at the time. So finally people can play this game. And it's like, with all these Final Fantasy games, you're going to want to play that game if you're curious about the story. It's pretty important. So yeah, it's great to see that. That's on everything, which is nice. Switch, PlayStation, Xbox.
Yeah, then they were even listing last gen versions on those.
Yeah, PS4 version was on there. Yeah, so that was great. I'm looking forward to that. So, like, I don't know how you
Hell
guys feel
yeah.
about it.
Dude, I'm the most hyped for that out of like
The most hyped out of everything?
Like no, not obviously remake 2, but like more hyped for this than something like even Intergrade. Like, dude,
Oh,
I've been
sure,
wanting-
sure.
I've been wanting to go back to Crisis Core.
Yeah.
Played it on PSP when it came out, but full like I was expecting that it would be just maybe like a port or whatever.
Yeah, that's
like
what I
maybe
thought
like
it'd
the
be.
PS Plus type stuff. Seems like they're giving it way more effort.
Yeah.
And I just remember really liking the story of that one.
Yeah.
And just hyped.
Yeah.
Have to go back for that.
Did you ever play that, Blood?
No, I didn't play a ton of PSP stuff.
Right,
I
okay.
never got like a PSP of my own, so anything that I played on PSP was like basically like one of the work PSPs.
Yeah.
Which is it's funny because I actually have a couple of PSP games, even though I don't
funny.
own a PSP.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, that's one that I never got around to.
I guess what I'm trying to say about the hype for it is like it had the hardest road to get here. You know, like we were always going to get remake part 2 or whatever.
Oh,
Like
sure.
Crisis Core, like. It's a big deal we're getting this.
Yeah,
it's a really big deal.
Yeah.
It helps a lot of
Yeah,
players
it's nice.
that have not played it. Like
I thought it was
Yes.
just
The
going to be
least
Ever
expected
Crisis.
of today's announcement.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it was nice to get. 'Cause I thought it was just gonna be an Ever Crisis. That's how they would handle it. But it is nice being able to actually play that game for a lot of people because I know a lot of people haven't played it.
Even like a recoded type if they did or something with it. Like if they made it a movie or
Oh,
something,
okay. Yeah,
you
sure.
know?
Long movie.
So cool we're getting the
Yeah, it's really
full-on-
cool. Yeah, I'm very stoked. And it's this winter, which could mean this year or next year.
Yeah. That's what I always
Some
get
big
annoyed
gap.
when publishers use winter because they mean entirely different things half the time, and so it's like okay,
February, January, is that
December,
winter?
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it could be anywhere between December and the end of next March. you
Yeah.
know, so.
Yeah, it is. It's uncertainty, but like I like having at least a window. You know, it's something, I guess.
Yeah.
But then we got the big one, the big boy. I was pretty sure we were going to see something of this game, but I did not expect to see as much as we did.
Right.
I was expecting maybe just like a little teaser trailer. I mean, this was.
I mean,
but,
I
like,
really expected just like a full on like just like marketing nonsense. So like, oh, download your wallpapers. You know, we got a wallpaper for every party member and that kind of thing. And they did go over like some music and things like that. And
Yeah, some
and
merchandise.
the clock. They brought up the Buster Sword clock again.
I love that thing.
But I really expected it to be.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be very
basically
sparse,
that and
very
like
sparse.
some developer, talking to
about
the
it,
camera.
kinda like
yeah.
how they
So
do
it's
it during
really
summer.
cool that we actually got
got
real
to see
announcements.
some gameplay of it, like not a lot, but like see some of the vision of the next game, and like looks pretty damn good. Got me really hyped.
The fact that they even mentioned 3 was intense. That means like, dude,
That they confirmed that they're so
like
they're
development is coming
it's
along nicely.
laid out the plan, And this game's on, I assume, Unreal 5 because the other games were on Unreal 4, and I'm sure that's probably helping them with the development.
They mentioned restructuring how their development is being done.
Yeah.
And that's speeding up the process.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that means,
Because it was a
but-
long road for the first game.
Yeah, well, it got like canceled almost, or essentially it was a different developer, but now they've been taken over. And they did, Intergrade or Intermission was like last year also. And that was like 5 hours almost. So it's like, man, really moving along on this game.
Yeah.
So it's very reassuring to hear that things are proceeding smoothly, especially with the history of this game. So
Yeah.
Throw Crisis Core in there too. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
crushing it.
yeah, they're doing good so far.
Brad, I got two kind of separate veins to go on with you. Number one is I've definitely seen, with reactions to this already, and they feed in back into the reactions to the original remake, is that some people are just like, well, this isn't a remake at all. Like you're totally like rewriting the story.
Yeah.
You're doing something different. Do you worry about that?
Nah.
Do you wish you had seen the story, the original story more?
It doesn't bother me because the first game, the original, is so easy to play nowadays. Like it's on every platform. You can get a hold of it real easy. And honestly, it's a lot of the same developers, so I'm kind of happy they're involved with it and they're just taking risks and making it different. Like, I don't have a problem with remakes that are super faithful to the game, but I'm very happy they're doing something different. It's very different from what everyone expected, including me, what they would do with it, but I'm along for the ride. I'm having a good time. I was confident, especially how part 1 paid off to me and finished. I felt good about it and the future of it, but you never know.
Yeah.
Could get even more. It could change. Like I don't like some things, but we'll see.
I super love how, like, without getting specific, what they're doing is very, very cool to me.
Yeah.
You agree?
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I like remake more than the original already. Personally, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't hurt me. I'm sorry.
I would say the same thing. I've always been somebody who's
loved
not as big on the original, although I where I check out is like way after where we've gotten so far. Like I always like the Midgar section. So.
Yeah, me too. That definitely helps. We'll see how I feel when
Yeah,
it's
I do-
all over.
I do feel like the next
sure.
section is really going to tell how how different they're gonna go. Like
Fair point.
how much are they gonna rewrite? How much are they gonna change?
I mean,
'Cause this is where it gets weird.
I mean, Midgar was already super
So
weird and
different.
different
So
in
di-
the remake.
Yeah.
And stuff from later is already like way happening. So it's just like, whoa, okay.
I'm mostly curious, Blood, to see how the game will be structured in
Yeah.
terms of its world. Because, you know,
and that's the next thing I was building into because,
Yeah.
you know, Midgar, you know.
it's very, like, linear in the
Yeah,
original game.
and you kind of go step by step. You have these very, you know, defined sections of town that you're in. You know, in terms of like the way the original one was, like Midgar is basically like all pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yeah.
And then you go out into
world,
the
actually,
world
yeah.
map and everything. And so it's like, how are they going
Yeah.
to handle that balance, you know, in terms of the amount of freedom they give a player?
I don't think Blood it'll be completely open world. I think it'll be in zones, but they'll be big. Some of the zones will be big. Like, I think you will ride a chocobo or something through a huge open zone, or you'll get the car and, like, drive around or something like that. But I don't think it's going to be, like, necessarily like Final Fantasy 15 kind of was in its
Right.
world or whatever.
Can't go anywhere exactly, but like
Yeah.
along your journey, you can go a lot of different places.
Yeah, I
at
think
any
you'll have
given
more
time.
freedom to, like, hop back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, you could in the
Well, I'm
chapter
very
selecting,
curious because,
but-
like, what chocobos were just like a quick fast travel thing, right? In the original remake,
well,
you didn't really ride them that often.
You do for a story part in the
Yeah.
game, but there's obviously a lot involved with it, with the racing and the breeding of
Right.
them, and the different ones letting you get to different areas. So, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they expanded on it because, like, the chocobo riding in 15, I actually liked too. That was fun.
right?
So yeah, I'm curious to see what they
Dude,
do.
it's so fun in 15. I loved riding the chocobos in that. That
Yeah.
was like my favorite part of that game. The chocobos,
Riding,
no
it was
joke.
sick.
Oh,
It was sick.
just like through the rain in the woods on a chocobo. Such a good vibe.
But yeah, I guess Blood, I'm just happy
And
to hear.
airship too is the other big thing.
Yeah,
Get
it
that.
just depends where this game's gonna end. At the part of the original game where it'll end, so that could change a lot of things of what I expect, I guess. So I don't know.
What are your hopes and dreams with Gold Saucer, Brad? Hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams. I mean, I hope it has a lot of the original games. Like, I hope there's a snowboarding minigame.
Oh,
I hope there's, like, the basketball shooting one. I think the chocobo racing will be a part of it because it is in the
Condor?
story.
Ford Condor.
Ford Condor's not not Gold Saucer.
Throw
though.
it in.
Oh yeah, you could have a Fort Condor thing in Fort Condor, but you could also have the Fort Condor game at actual Fort Condor. So
Yes.
don't know. But yeah, and I hope the roller coaster's there. I really do. And the haunted house, like, I essentially want, like, all the stuff.
PSVR 2 tie-in on the roller coaster, first person.
You could, because it is in the original. It is in the original. Yeah, you could have the shooting mini game.
How crazy will it be if this game, part 2, finishes where the original 7 finished, and 3 is a completely additional
it's possible.
part?
There's a lot of
Seems
ground
like
to
it could-
cover.
I mean, yeah, it's
Like
a lot.
I said.
That could
Wild,
be
that's
possible.
wild.
Final Fantasy VII refried beans. Finish your journey in the open
Airtight.
restaurant.
It's airtight.
Yeah.
Requiem.
And then Noctis, or which one cooks in 15?
Ignis, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he shows up and like cooks you beans.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see the other characters we haven't seen yet, like Sid, Vincent, obviously, Keshi, all of them.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see them. But I'm most excited to see how they handle the world design, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because just like so many different locations, so many different aesthetics for sure.
Yeah, a lot. But it's just reassuring to see they have like a date they're gonna try to hit. I wouldn't be surprised it gets delayed because everything seems to get delayed nowadays. But
Right.
it's nice to hear.
We'll have Crisis Core before then.
Yeah, we'll have like theoretically a year gap between all of them. So that it's nice. Yeah, give people a chance to play it.
So
No
nice.
Xbox version still of Remake, which is brutal for everyone
Yeah.
that can't play it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever will be, or for a long time.
The clock's ticking on that deal. Like, honestly, I think it's some kind of contract thing.
well, yeah,
and
of
then
course
that
it is.
number
That's
will-
why. Yeah,
And then it'll hit Game Pass.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
When it comes out.
Yep.
It'll hit Game Pass when the whole trilogy's done, 2027.
Yeah.
Ooh, what if they? Yeah. Maybe.
Just like Kingdom Hearts. Yeah.
I wonder if the whole thing needs to be done. Yeah, that's
I don't know what
That's
kind of deal
hardcore.
Sony made with them or
It's an
whatever.
expensive deal.
some money was transferred to an account.
Of course.
Offshore account.
Yeah. But yeah, feeling good. Some nice announcements today.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
At the exact same time. It blows my mind that this is
Yeah.
how
So
the schedule.
showdown.
weird, dude.
Because both of them had announced 3 o'clock on the 16th. Dragon's Dogma 2
Woo!
We got the confirmation.
Hard confirmation.
Hard confirmation.
Yeah.
And this is not a surprise, right?
We are
This is-
saying it.
No.
They have been hinting at this like pre-release of Devil May Cry 5, basically. When,
Yeah, they knew
when
they
he
were gonna
said
do
it,
this.
it's like, yeah, I had the option of whether to make Devil May Cry 5 or Dragon's Dogma 2 first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
And he chose wrong, but it's okay. Technology will just be better. We needed that time. Technology for 2 is
true.
where it needs to be now.
Yeah. So we got a 10th anniversary presentation, which actually was
It was
really
delightful.
It was cool.
very
Loved
cool
it.
and very informative.
It was
Yeah.
cute.
Loved
It was
it.
cute.
Really went back to like him going into like when he joined up with Capcom, as
Yeah.
well as just like his history with like RPGs and all
You're
of
talking
that.
about like the
Yeah.
actual concepts of the game and when and how they were born, like climbing on the monsters and stuff. Talking about
Yeah.
cyclopses
Yeah.
and like elephant skulls.
Elephant bones,
you know,
yeah.
loved all that. Fantastic.
Yeah, and also it sounded like they had started like sketching up ideas for this like before Devil May Cry 2.
Yeah.
Before 2,
And
yeah.
then like he got jammed into that
Yeah.
nightmare.
Had to take over that.
And then after that, like, well, I
3.
got to make it right and make
Yeah,
Devil May
made
Cry
Devil
3.
May Cry 3, yeah.
An atonement.
Yeah.
Which was so interesting to me that they had the ideas for this stuff so long ago. And it just like stuck in his head. I love it. And like I loved how direct they were about like we're going to do these big creatures, but we have to change it up because otherwise every game just attacks the feet. And,
Right.
and then they were like, so if, it's pointless if we don't make you jump onto the monsters. And I was like,
Yeah.
Which, considering like what he was talking about and timelines of things and the
Right.
ideas they had of things, it actually sounds like they had those ideas before we even saw Shadow of the Colossus,
Oh, yeah.
which is the closest thing I could compare it to.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I think of.
And
And,
God of
like-
War and From games, of course, big beasts like taking them down. But in,
Right, but
you're
there
just
wasn't a
talking
lot
about
of things
like
like
climbing.
actually
Yeah,
climbing
yeah, you
on
were
a
right.
moving
Yeah.
boss.
God of War was like
Yeah.
quick time event kind
Yeah.
of grabbing them. This was like you actually jump and push a button and
Yeah.
grab it.
Yeah,
I-
was
I
this
really
this was
like-
before? Sorry, I let
well, I was just going to say that I really like that they had that idea so long ago. Like,
Yeah.
'cause technologically, that seems like nigh impossible back
Yeah,
then.
only Shadow of the Colossus was really doing it
yeah.
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah, and so like by the time they got to the final game, yeah, Shadow of the Colossus has already been out there.
Yeah.
But I think that, it's one of those things where like those convergent ideas.
Yeah. Totally.
And then, they also confirmed, the reveal itself was great because they've been talking the whole time. And then they had these button-up shirts, and they unbuttoned the shirts to reveal the T-shirts.
The Capcom shirt reveals.
Just threw their shirts
so
across
good.
the room.
Well, but-
The energy was amazing.
But what I loved about it was that it's... Oh, I'm peeking like constantly. What I loved about it was that it was... the way they edited it, it was like an action movie where they were like showing an explosion like 6 times over and over again. They like showed him unzipping his shirt like 3 times. It was so good.
And then not a lot of other details, but they
No,
confirmed,
just confirmed.
it's on RE Engine.
Yeah. Every
So
game they're making is going to be on
excited,
RE
dude.
Engine.
Yeah. That's a versatile engine they've got.
Yeah, I know.
I-
Monster Hunter Rise runs on that too.
Monster Hunter,
Reach for the moon,
Street
dude.
Fighter,
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
I can't even imagine when we see this game and a character is going into a dark room with a lantern
the lighting,
and then
yeah.
some freaking beast is there. RE Engine, it's gonna look so good.
One of the things I thought was really funny about this was they were talking about the pawns and developing the pawns.
Yeah.
And like, we could have made the pawns smarter, but we wanted
Right.
it to seem like an online player session.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't make them too smart. Or
Yeah,
it wouldn't
yeah.
feel like playing with a real person.
That's true, yeah.
That was so fun.
Because it was like the whole thing was like that your pawns like learn throughout the game
Yeah.
information and stuff like that, which was cool at the time.
Yeah. I think that's still like a really interesting question as to whether this will go to be more cooperative like Monster Hunter, or if it will be
Will it be online?
continue to have pawns. Yeah.
Huge question, honestly. Pawns, I know, are a little divisive. I don't care for them that much. I'm not a big fan of the pawns. But it is a dramatically different game. I know they had Dragon's Dogma online. We never got to play that. But that is it's just a completely different game.
Yeah.
Single player with pawns or online multiplayer. So
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know which
personally-
one I'm in favor of, honestly. I'm down for either.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are saying co-op. I personally want it to be either very, very optional or not multiplayer because I like taking my time, like exploring, jumping around on roofs, like looking around, like
It is nice to play by yourself.
Spoil it a little.
Yeah. I think the pawns are a super important part of that game, and which help make it stand out. Like, there's nothing wrong with multiplayer, but I think the pawn is a unique aspect. I'd rather just see them build a pawn.
Totally.
I think they could flesh it out way more, make him way better.
Yeah, and they did spend a fair amount of time talking about that. Like, I feel like that and climbing on creatures and some of the creature designs and stuff, like those are sort of the key points they're hitting on. Is like, what is the identity of this game?
Add some more like RPG elements to them or something.
Building more upon their abilities and stuff like that.
Would you give them like defined story roles?
No, because they're the players.
Exactly.
They already have story.
Yeah, you can have like NPCs or something like that have like a story, I guess.
And they also talked about like, some people will make the cutest pawns, or some people like the freakiest pawns, or the strongest pawns. It's just like there is sort of like those kinds of, like we're talking about Saints Row, just like that idea of like creating a crazy character and then seeing what it'll do.
Yeah, I strangely think it's more exciting to me nowadays. The idea of having like Huber's pawn with me is almost more exciting than just Huber. Not that I don't like Huber, but like I've played many games with Huber, and this is like a weird, unique way for me to interact with him.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because like how many games do that? Where you like
shadow.
have their avatar, or like their party member with you.
Running in with a hammer.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's gonna be. Biggest dude possible.
Yeah.
Huber, in Dragon's Dogma, do you and your pawn both roll like big warrior classes? Or do you balance it out?
My pawn, I have an archer. Archer
that
pawn.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I always do. I'm always an archer, and then my pawn is a mage.
Nice.
Do you always just use the same set of pawns, or is it, or not the same set, but the same number of pawns, or are there like special events where they pull in more?
You always have your own and then 2 more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say it's always usually 4 from what I remember. I haven't played in a long time.
Four counting yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think it'd be cool if they brought in something that was sort of, almost like a raid battle or something, where it's like everybody on your friends list, their pawns just come and join the fight.
They had some weird online elements before, like an online boss that people would fight at the same time. If I remember, it was like some weird dragon. So I wouldn't be surprised if they toy with that more.
There's a giant world health pool for it.
Yeah.
Well, the start of the very start of the first game is a scripted event that has you have your party of 4, and then there are other NPCs fighting with you, and that kind of stuff happens sometimes throughout the game. So they kind of do that.
It's so funny because there's like a just enough loving jank in the original, you know? But it's so funny.
Oh, right. They did the Dragon, of course. They've done this.
Yeah. It's so funny because it's still so visually striking. Dragon's Dogma. Like, the magic is so awesome. You know, all like the fire explosions and stuff. Just climbing a beast looks so cool.
Yeah.
So...
Well, they're showing off the Welsh countryside that inspired it in the video.
So I
Look
just
at the weeds.
my mouth
The weeds.
my mouth waters with the possibilities of a high budget RE engine Dragon's Dogma sequel. Like visually, when we see this game, I'm fully expecting to be floored.
Yeah, I mean, we skipped an
Like
entire
Witcher.
generation too, so it's been a while, and now it'll be on RE engine, which has been a pretty sweet engine. So
Yeah.
should look nice.
And just the fact that they've gone from, okay, like this is something in our head that we don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
To now like, okay, we've done it. What do we want to make better about it?
Yeah, exactly.
And really improve on all these things.
Oh, man. I'm just picturing getting your heart ripped out in the RE engine. It's going to be juicy.
I want to see the veins.
Yeah, dude. Like it has to like pull on the sinew, bone and sinew.
Excellent. Well, as mentioned earlier, we're still catching up on the podcast for Summer Game Fest stuff. And Sunday morning, after the show floor stuff that we went to, Xbox and Bethesda had their showcase. And so we went over a lot of this in the post show. So I'm going to be kind of like trying to be a little bit more picky on like how much stuff to cover. But we didn't have Brad, so it'd be great to get your takes on some things.
Yeah.
But I think one of the first things is kind of overall, and I think I had mentioned this earlier sometime before the shows, but it's like, when is When is this just going to become the Xbox showcase again?
They're still doing Xbox and Bethesda.
Calling it Xbox
Yeah.
and Bethesda,
don't
and
know
I
why.
really felt like this presentation did not justify putting Bethesda's name in the title.
Because
There was not a lot there, like they bookended it with Redfall and Starfield.
Yeah.
But then they just sort of like, okay, here's some other stuff.
But those two games, I feel like, were bigger than
Right.
anything.
They were, but it is kind of weird that they still separate them, I guess.
Right.
Like, you are part of Xbox already now.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
you're
you
not
are
separate.
integrated.
You are,
Yeah.
you're part of the same thing. Like, are they going to do in the future Xbox, Bethesda, Blizzard or something? It's like, how...
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Blizzard's a humongous company. It's like, I don't know. Weird.
I
but
feel like the only reason it's being done this way is because Bethesda used to have their own
yeah,
conference.
that's totally why.
So,
But I just
yeah.
wonder if they'll just keep that going forever. Because everyone else is like, what, we're not as important as Bethesda to you?
Yeah.
Right.
Should call it the Microsoft Tango
The Tango
conference.
Yeah.
And like, will we get in? Because like this year is like, okay, we didn't see that much from Rare. We saw some Sea of Thieves updates.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see a whole. Well, we did actually see a fair amount from Obsidian.
Yo, what do
So-
you think of that Sea of Thieves, dude?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it actually.
Oh,
It looks jolly as hell.
yeah.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves is a cool game.
You
Like,
can
I love
name
Sea of
your
Thieves.
ship now.
wait, you couldn't do that?
No.
Oh,
You
okay.
can name your ship. You can save like loadouts, which is
Yeah.
really good.
Oh, that
'cause,
is
like,
cool.
Every time you play it, right now you're
Yeah,
like, okay,
Sea of Thieves.
whose steering wheel
Yeah.
are we putting on? Okay, what are we
It's a
doing?
cool game.
Yeah.
It's good to see that game doing well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the Pirates of the Caribbean thing. I didn't finish it, but I played
That
some.
was
It was really
fun.
cool. So yeah.
But yeah, some specific games. Redfall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super curious about this game. Like, I like Arcane a lot. It definitely felt like very Arcane. Like, the cult thing is like the most like Arcane kind of thing I can think of all the time with them. And like vampires is like, yeah, it's like right on brand. I like the town of it. I'm really curious. To me, this game will live and die by its powers and how fun they are to use with other people.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious about like the idea of, it's single player, but it's also multiplayer and how this all kind of gets together and how it all fits, how the world is going through it. I still have many questions about it, but like I'm obviously excited to try it because I like Arcane.
Yeah, I get nervous with the co-op part.
Yeah.
My same fears that I have with Suicide Squad and Gotham Knights is it is just harder to follow a story and get immersed in a world when you're chatting with your buds.
So you're expecting more of a story focus on this, yeah?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
for
just
sure.
because of their history.
Yeah,
is
just
Arcane.
and just that world building that
Yeah.
they're known for. That's just harder to absorb when you're playing co-op. But so hyped for this game, cannot wait. But that is kind of just the only concern, really.
Yeah,
And the powers. Yeah, you're
I
right.
saw one concerning thing. They talked about recently how the co-op, if you're doing co-op, the person with you who's not the host doesn't get progress
Oh,
going
what?
through the
Yeah,
story.
Said
they did,
that?
They did
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
they did
it's the
say
host
that.
progress.
Yeah,
and
it's
the other
host
people are
only
just
progress.
joining
I don't
in.
think that's a good idea
That's
right
the
now.
worst.
They have time to change it. Hopefully they do. I don't think that's a good idea.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves in games.
But
I feel like that's a problem that we've solved.
I
So many
know. That's like a decade-old problem.
Vermintide doesn't have that. Like that's crazy.
And it makes me more curious about the structure of the game. Is it like mission based exactly, or are you on open map and going
Right.
from? I just have a lot of questions still, but
yeah,
that's not a good thing for me to hear. But
I agree.
You got time to change that if they need to,
Yeah.
because all we know is this is next year. Within 12 months, they're trying to.
Yeah, and
Sometime-
that was actually a big theme for the show, which I actually do think is good for Xbox because we've seen
They have a long history of
way
showing things
too many
very early.
games that really aren't
Ready.
anywhere in terms of production,
Right.
and then a lot of them end up getting canceled.
Yeah, I was really surprised to not see Hellblade.
Same.
Right.
I feel like we've been hearing about that game for a
Right.
long time.
Same.
After we saw that long gameplay thing at the
Yeah.
Game Awards, I think it was last year.
Yeah, I
Which
think
does
that's
that
right, yeah.
imply that it's more than 12 months away?
Yes, that's the idea, I guess.
Yeah.
Potentially, or just that they realize that, hey, we've been showing this game a lot, and right now,
Yeah.
anything we show is not going to,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
just going to be dragging it out essentially until it comes
Yeah.
out. So, I think it's smart to hold back on that if they don't feel like they need
Yeah,
to.
totally.
agree.
Yeah.
But what's funny about that is, like, I feel like while that might be the case for most of these games, there ain't no way that Kojima game's coming out in 12 months.
Oh,
Well, hey, I was surprised how fast Death Stranding came out. When Death Stranding came out, to me, that was like one of the quickest made games ever for the quality and just what it was and how it.
This might be a much
happened.
smaller game. I've heard it's like episodic, essentially. So I don't know for sure though. If it's just like part one of something, then maybe. They didn't even show anything for it, right?
Right.
All we know is
Kojima's just said a little statement.
The woman who played Mama in Death Stranding is apparently the main character, or in it at least. So that's all we know. And did they say it was like a cloud project or something too?
He was talking about that. He was talking about tapping into the cloud somehow.
I don't know what that necessarily means for the game, but interesting, I guess. But he's gonna have to use a new engine now because the last one was the
Decima.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious what engine he'll use, if it's just Unreal or something else.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. if it was
Fox
Unreal.
engine. Bring it back.
Fox engine? Yeah.
Yeah. Call Konami.
Yeah, Konami's got that thing locked down.
Yeah, they sure do.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were going to talk about this, but I'm kind of bummed not to see Fable still.
Oh,
Because we learned about that game, 2020? And like, obviously,
Perfect
like, if it... Yeah. We've heard rumblings about Perfect Dark, but like, I'm really curious about this one because it's Playground now doing it. Who did like Forza Horizon, I think it's them. So I'm really curious to see their take on it, but obviously if the game's not ready, don't show it. But I was just a little sad I didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that goes back to what I was saying. Is like they've just been showing these games way too early.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Mouth is watering at the thought of a town in the new Fable game.
Yeah. Really curious. Really curious to see about that. But are you going to talk about... Sorry, I don't want to like just hop around games.
No,
like
it's fine. Yeah, I mean, the second thing we saw, the fabled Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Yeah, that's what it's nice to see. Very nice to see. They just gave like a this year kind of thing.
No
Is that what
day.
They said?
They did
No
not give
day.
a
No,
date.
it wasn't even this year?
No.
Yeah.
Damn. So just within a year, I guess, is all we know.
Yep.
Supposedly.
Man, it's crazy how long ago Ben played that game. Years and years ago.
Shout out to, quickly random aside, shout out to all the leakers out there because...
Shout out to the leakers.
Shout out to the
What?
fake leakers.
Okay.
The fake leaks. Because all these like potential leaks hit, like Silent Hill and stuff that never happened.
Right.
So now there's enough.
I mean, I think those are still leaks, real leaks.
Dude, now for me, there's enough doubt for me to never trust a leak. Honestly. Because everything there was
Well, there was a new leaker that came out, and he's been very accurate so far, whoever they are.
okay.
They've been very accurate.
But I feel like there were a lot of things that like didn't show up in
Right.
the conference.
Yeah.
That we thought were like, oh, all the leaks say it's
But I
gonna
guess
happen.
If
But-
if it's not ready within a year, then they weren't going to show it. So
Right.
it's like, how long did we know about Resident Evil 4 remake? We knew about that for a long time.
True.
Yeah, I also feel like part of the Silent Hill story maybe that it's similar to the Castlevania, you know, like before Lords of Shadow, where they had like studios competing.
Oh,
and so
sure.
It's like, these may be prototypes, and we're not going to see all of these things.
Yeah.
You know, and they're just
That could be
they're going to
possible.
pick the one that they like the best.
Yeah, totally.
But who knows?
I'm just not gonna trust leaks.
Sure. Don't trust
live
them.
a better life. Don't trust them.
Brad, you ever play Plague Tale?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Plague Tale. It was cool.
Yeah. What do you think of what you've seen for
Oh,
Requiem
I think
so
it looks. I think it looks good. I'm just really pleased to knowing this sequel probably had a lot bigger budget this time around. Like,
Right.
I liked the first game, but it had some rough edges for sure for me. But I'm just really. I like this world. I like these characters. I'm excited to see them come back on a newer generation, just to see what they can kind of do now. You know, learning after one game what they just improve upon with the sequel is exciting to me. And it's a really good Game Pass game for the first day. Like, that's a game you'd sub up for right there.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah, I think it's a really, intimate, close knit, like something that's very close to the developers' hearts. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think it's like one of those things that I wouldn't have even expected a sequel for. But to see them
To do
continue
well,
with these
yeah.
characters and move forward with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting.
Yeah. Really excited for it. That's this year, right? Is that all we know about it?
I didn't write down dates
Okay.
for this,
Goaty watch.
but
Goaty watch Plague Tale.
Yeah.
So hyped.
First one's cool.
And you've been getting into GT.
Yeah, I play a little GT.
7.
Yeah, I'm curious about Forza.
What do you think about Forza? So
Yeah,
far?
I'm curious. Like, it's like a whole new world for me of these kind of like racing sims. I'm still extremely novice in all these games, but yeah, I'm just curious to check it out, just to see like racing games. I always get really excited to see how racing games look actually on my TV and perform because they're showpieces in my opinion.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So it'd be really cool to see Forza. And like I played Horizon a little bit last year, so I'm like, yeah, I'm curious to see what they got cooking up.
Yeah, it's been a long time because these guys used to do like the cycle, like every other year there would be a new Forza Motorsport. And I think that, they've seen that, with like 5, 6, and 7, like the magic was starting to kind of fade a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
It was like they were struggling to figure out like what new things they could do structurally to the game. So I'm curious what they'll do there. I'm also curious, what they'll do in terms of onboarding, because Forza's actually been really good and been like a leader of like making things more accessible, more digestible for new players. But I feel like GT7 did such a good job of not just like making it easy for you to jump in and play something real quick, but like actually like,
bringing you into the culture. I think it did a really good job.
Pulling you into those deeper mechanics in a really meaningful way.
Yeah.
And that's where one of the places where I feel like some of the like more recent motorsport games haven't done as good of a job. They've just
do they have a license test equivalent for that series?
I don't really think so.
Because if you do,
In.
Yeah, big time in.
The other thing that I've been kind of arguing with people in comments a little bit is just like this claim of they're going to have ray tracing on track in real time.
Oh,
which,
yeah, sure,
Gran
maybe.
Turismo only does it for replays.
PC version.
And that's exactly what I mean. It's like there's all kinds of wiggle room here, right? So it's like you could have it, only be on the PC version, or you could have it be only 30 frames per second or something, or you could have like the Spider-Man thing where they like do the performance ray tracing towards like it's got some features but not the whole package.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do.
So, we'll see. I'm very curious what the Digital Foundry assessment
that'll be very
of actual gameplay.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
And what that ray tracing actually looks like.
Totally.
Overwatch 2 was briefly in there, but then we got some more news. So I'm curious, Brad, what are you thinking? They're talking about free to play.
Yeah, it's free to
There's
play.
Like some $40 bundle that.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, where you get.
You can probably get like the season pass or like.
Yeah, well, I think you need that for
pass.
like closed beta access or something.
Oh, really? Because it's. I think it's open beta October.
Early access.
Early access. Okay.
The campaign is paid and the multiplayer stuff's free, right?
I think so. I think that's how it works. They haven't really talked about a lot of the campaign stuff, which I'm the
there
most
some
curious
more
about.
today, but we've been busy all day.
Yeah, I'm the most curious about that. But yeah, I'm not like super into it. I had my time with Overwatch.
You had a lot of time.
I did,
Overwatch.
exactly.
So
Like,
it's
I
interesting
played a lot.
to see you just like.
Well, I played a
over
lot.
This. Yeah.
And it's like it's not as like new or exciting to me. Like, to be fair, I haven't played in a long time, so maybe I would really enjoy it if I came back. But it's like I'll probably check it out, but I'm not exactly super excited to hop in or thinking about it all the time. It's more of a curiosity point, I would say now.
Yeah.
Just how the game has changed over time, how things will be structured now. Like we were talking about the battle pass and all, how they handle everything like that. I think Ben told me there's going to be no more loot boxes or something. So I'm just really curious about all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And what do you think of single player? Is that a draw or is that weird?
It's interesting to me. I'm curious about how it's going to work necessarily. But I don't know. Could be cool, could not be. I don't know. I'm not expecting anything great from it, I guess.
Right.
I think it'll just be fine, whatever they do.
More Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels expansion.
Cool. Yeah.
It sounds like you'll be able to do a lot more to like make your own tracks.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff in
sweet.
this
Yeah.
too.
Any like the Hot Wheels things, I think that's really fun.
Some crazy like floating island above Mexico where all this is supposed to be taking place.
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think the idea sounds really fun to me, especially after that Hot Wheels game that I actually thought was really cool. So hell yeah.
Yeah, I think the two concerns I have potentially like they announced like 10 new cars, but I think like only like 4 of them are actually Hot Wheels cars.
Oh, really? Dang.
So there's not a lot of the actual car representation, which is weird.
Yeah.
And the other thing is just like the strength of the Horizon series is that open world, is that
That's true,
exploration.
yeah.
And so to just like have the majority of the game probably be on the orange tracks.
Sure.
Is gonna,
I guess like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the Horizon seems much more arcadey in its racing. So I think it'll probably feel very different still from proper Forza, I guess. So, but yeah, I think the appeal a lot of it is driving around. But Hot Wheels stuff's cool, man. Do some sweet jumps or some loops like that. Hell yeah.
Loops in the sky.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Sounds cool.
Did you see this game, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn?
Hell yeah.
Yes, this sounds familiar.
Lady with an axe, and then she's got like a
Yes,
box
this is
gun or
the
whatever, yeah.
Ashen people, the Ashen developers.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
Looks so sick.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it looks cool. It looks much more like. So I reviewed Ashen when it came out. This game seems like it has much more of its own identity to me. It seems compared to what Ashen was. Like I liked Ashen, but it felt very much like Souls game at that specific area or period of time. This seems like it much more like almost character action, I would say, than Souls-like leaning. Like you're a very unique character now, or a specific character, and it looks like you have way more flashy kind of attacks. And a hand axe. Those developers love hand axes. I've definitely realized over the time. So, looks cool. I'm curious about it. I want to check it out.
Huber,
Super hyped on that
you're a
one.
fan of axes?
Yeah, I can't wait for this one. Yeah, I like that it looks more actiony versus Soulsy. Like we saw some boss fights that got into that Souls perspective. But there were a lot of mobs where she would just run in and decimate them, like something you'd see in Devil May Cry. So, pumped.
Yeah, it's cool to see them back with something new.
An interesting one that I'm still not sure what to make of entirely yet. Obsidian's doing a new game called Pentiment.
I saw a screenshot of this. I didn't see a trailer for it.
Looks like
an
old illustrations.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
kind of really cool visual style. Is this like just a narrative game or something, I wonder?
We saw so many weird things. We saw a woman in a jail cell, and it's like, is this a cutscene? Are we playing this? Then we
okay.
saw a guy getting beat up.
Oh!
We saw like multiple shifts in perspective. This game looked so good, and then I saw that Obsidian name on it,
Right.
and my hype went from like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
looks really cool and neat and cool and great to like, okay, Obsidian is doing this? Like, this is one, like, very high on my watch out
Yeah.
for list, just because of that.
I think
that
they're
pedigree.
one of Microsoft's coolest studios, in my opinion, that they have right now. Like,
Yeah.
they're still doing grounded stuff. They have Avowed
They have
coming.
at least 4 games in
Yeah,
the
Avowed
pipe
this.
right now.
It's like, man, they are doing work over there.
All of which are very
Outer
different.
Worlds, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, they're doing great.
Because Outer Worlds is very much on the Bethesda kind of template, right?
I think Avowed will probably
I think
kinda
Avowed will be
similar.
sort of, but I don't think it'll be quite that. I think it'll be a different style of RPG.
Okay.
Still more
First
still
person.
having some narrative focus, but and then Grounded.
Yeah,
is
which is like a weird, like, whoa, what is this
Honey, I
game?
Shrunk the Kids
Yeah.
survival game, and that's finally coming out like
Full release.
full version.
Oh, right.
So that'll be nice. And then Pentiment just looks like completely different.
Yeah,
Looks
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
Looks like kind of like Card Shark or whatever visually a little bit. There's some kind of that energy in there, but
Well, that medieval
Shark's good.
art style.
yeah.
Yeah. Where are you guys at on Diablo 4? Taking a look at this.
So I'm interested. I'll definitely play it. I haven't played a lot of Diablos, but I've played 2 and 3, and I haven't finished the Reaper Souls thing, but I played the base game. I like Diablo. I'll definitely play it when it comes out. They added the Necromancer, which is that's what I'll play when that game comes out. So far, what they've been saying about it sounds pretty good to me. I know there's some microtransactions they're gonna have in there. I guess they said cosmetics, which kind of annoys me, especially because it's gonna be a full price game. But we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic, with all things Blizzard at this time.
Yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up for it, honestly, which is just shocking. I'm definitely, at least somewhat interested in it, whereas Overwatch 2, I have just
I'm much more interested in Diablo.
Yeah,
Definitely.
like Overwatch, I don't even know if I'll install it. I don't even care
Right.
at all, whereas Diablo, I like this darker visual tone they're going for,
Yeah.
more like 1 and 2. But it's a wait and see, you know?
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
I don't know.
I did hear though that it has local co-op, which is really sick,
Yeah.
and has crossplay, which I think is great. That's super cool. I love stuff like that. Like being able to play Diablo with someone on different, like if you're on PC and someone playing on Xbox or PlayStation, or whatever, that's really cool.
Is that going to be Game Pass?
No, not at launch. I
It
don't
hasn't.
think so.
It didn't
No.
have the flag on it. No,
I don't think so.
But
Maybe when they actually
once the
buy
actual
them.
merger
yeah,
goes through,
maybe,
yeah.
Well, probably, but yeah.
I feel a game like that, if it was Game Pass, it could be like the record for like Game Pass. I don't know.
It's-
Just
yeah,
a big multiplayer game like
Yeah.
that, like a Destiny type.
Yeah.
Right.
Is just such a big.
Yeah, some of the things they're saying about it sounded interesting to me. It's like a much more open world now. Like, I don't know exactly what that'll mean for this series technically, but sounds kind of cool.
Yeah,
Public
like you can
events they've hyped
go
up.
off to whatever
Yeah.
dungeons
Yeah,
you
like
want.
the
Yeah.
public
Go wherever
event
you want,
looked
yeah.
like a very basic, like, here's a fate from Final Fantasy 14 kind of thing.
It seems
like that.
exactly like a Fate. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like fine. It's cool. It's different, I guess, for the series. So, but yeah, I'm kind of with you. We're like, I'm not getting my expectations super hyped. I'm not a Diablo super fan by any means, so I'm probably not the right person for this. But I'm cautiously optimistic. Hope it's good.
I love Diablo. I have like a very high level Paragon Diablo 3
Yeah, you
character.
do.
I love
Maniac.
that on the console. And-
Unhinged.
Yeah, and I mean like with all the behind the scenes stuff with Blizzard or whatever, like that kind of de-hyped me obviously because I'm like conflicted on it, but with the new ownership, I'm hoping they like turn it around and like handle all that stuff cuz like I really want to be excited for Diablo 2, like I want or 4, I mean, I really want to be jazzed about it. I haven't tried Immortal at all cuz I just hear weird stuff about it, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, it sounds like as long as before you get to the end game, it's probably fine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's until the microtransaction starts hitting you.
You hit
Yeah.
the paywall like
Yeah.
in
Pay up.
Let It Die. I love Let It Die too.
Hell yeah.
No shade on Let It Die, that ridiculous game.
Hell yeah.
Are you curious about Diablo at all, Blood? I'm not even sure what you think of that series.
Yeah, I dabbled in Diablo 3 like once or twice. But yeah, I haven't really put the time in.
Got it. Okay.
For that series or even like Path of Exile or anything
Yeah.
like that.
I think this is a huge game for Blizzard.
Yeah.
And one they definitely need.
Turning point.
To me, this is like the game they need to get right more than anything.
Yeah.
Like more than anything right now. Like you cannot mess this game up.
It really does feel like a watershed kind of a
All or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Blizzard just kind of stops or not maybe. I mean, it's probably not that dramatic, but
No, it's
yeah.
not, but like of like quality of their games over time. It's like please
Been slipping.
let this be the one. Yeah.
A game that I'm very curious about, but I know so little about, and I really want to see like a gameplay demo. And maybe it was in the extended showcase, which I missed. But Wolong Fallen Dynasty.
Oh, right.
Joint creation by Team Ninja producers Fumihiko Yasuda from Nioh and Masaki Yamagiwa of Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Set in the Three Kingdoms era,
That's a
infested
buzzword.
with demons.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did the combat, I think, in Bloodborne or something like that. I'm gonna double check.
Yeah,
but-
it's gonna be, Neo with Chinese mythology more so now.
Yeah, I mean that's the easy thing to assume.
Yeah.
It'll be very, very similar.
I'm sure
to
it'll be
Nioh,
very
to
similar.
Stranger
Yeah.
Paradise.
Yeah.
I just hope there's less loot.
Oh, lead producer.
That's it. I just need
Yes.
the loot to be scaled back like 80%. 80% less loot.
Yeah,
and,
I
and I'm
really
in.
hate how much loot there is in
Yeah.
Nioh.
Yeah.
Like
I really
80% right off the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to see them
At least Neo 2 made it way easier to like sort it,
filter
and
it more.
filter
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you could do
'cause,
stuff
oh
like
my
that for
God.
sure, but yeah. That's kind of like a part of the game is the loot, I guess. So.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's just too much.
But yeah, I'm definitely interested in this. It's hard to say. I haven't seen gameplay of it or anything like that, but I have an idea of in my head what it'll be like.
Yeah, that vibe, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
weird take, but I kind of want it to be shorter. Like,
Yes.
Neo's one-
also too long.
yeah, Neo's 1 and 2. I like love those games. Full caps love. Like Neo 2 especially, and I never beat either one of them.
Stranger
It's
Paradise
like,
is shorter.
I have like 70 hours into that game, and it's just like nothing. Like it's like a third of the way.
Yeah.
It feels like it's crazy.
And then closing out the show was Starfield.
Right.
We got some looks at some combat. We got some looks at like exploration. We got some looks at some space travel. And then we got some more details from IGN interview and some other statements in the past couple of days that there won't be seamless flying from planet to space, which
Called it.
Cutscene.
Yeah, some people are upset about, but Todd Howard was basically like, hey, this isn't really that interesting, and so like, why are we going to put our efforts into making this transition space? Which a lot of people are just calling him out on. A lot of No Man's Sky fans.
Yeah, it's just
other
a
game
level
fans.
of immersion,
Yeah.
I guess, that sells the space fantasy.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to the kind of game that it is too, because like, I think space games maybe more than other genres, fans kind of want it to be a silver bullet. Like they want it to be everything.
Second Life.
Right,
Right.
yeah. They want
Yeah.
it to be like space sim, hugely rich story. You can go anywhere. You
Yeah.
can fly seamlessly everywhere. It's got
can manage
ship
the
combat,
economy.
It's got
100%.
legs. It's
You
got
are
economy.
Preach it, yes.
And it's like, yes, I want that too. I want all of that. It's a tough nut to crack. It's a hard thing to
Yeah.
build. Star
Yeah.
Citizen is trying to do that, and they've been in development for like 3,000 years.
Yep.
And Bethesda, might not be the people to do it. I don't know. I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah, sure.
I've been trepidatious on this game. I'm not like filled with vitriol or anything about it. I'm just kind of like, I burned myself out on the Bethesda style of RPG because they were like literally my favorite growing up. Like I devoured Morrowind, And so as soon as I saw that dialogue, like the talking, I was just like, oh, okay, we're just doing that again. Got it.
Oh, sure.
Which is fine. Nothing wrong with it. It's just like not my cup of tea anymore.
I enjoy it, but I think to me it's the lack of that evolving, right? It's the lack
Yeah,
of
that. Yeah.
of the
exactly.
dynamics, and one of the things that they've confirmed in this is that there's a silent protagonist again.
Oh man.
And so in a lot of ways, I feel like where The Witcher 3 went is sort of that next step. Towards, like,
from Witcher 1 to 2 to 3, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean,
Huge
I just mean
growth.
like in terms of like, where Bethesda style games go, right? It's like you don't just have a silent protagonist, you have somebody that has a little bit more personality, or at least you like, even if it's your own created character, you cut back and forth a little bit more. You have a more dynamic kind of feeling scene when you talk to somebody, not just like camera lock. Okay.
Face zoom in.
It just feels like they went for the Ubisoft marketing bullet point route of more. It is Fallout, but now there's 1,000 planets and there's space combat. It's the Assassin's Creed Odyssey of the Bethesda world.
Right.
They're the biggest scale they've ever gone with it.
Yeah. And
it feels like kind of out of date and out of touch to me. Like Outer Worlds was even doing like updating this formula, and that still felt kind of out of date to me. You hit the nail on the head, Blood. It just needs to evolve. Like no shade on Bethesda, but they just need to evolve.
Yeah, and the some of the things that he did say though, because we were worried about like planets feeling like they're just like procedurally generated or whatever, they're trying to get ahead of that by saying like that has more handcrafted areas than any other past Bethesda game.
Yeah.
They said that the city is one of the largest cities they've ever made.
Yeah, I'm really curious about like a lot of that kind of stuff. Like the idea of 1,000 planets is not exciting to me.
Right. It's scary. It's intimidating.
It
It's
is.
like, do I
It's
want
just
to
like
hop into this? Yeah.
To me, like I understand the sense of wanting the player to feel like you're in a huge like galaxy or universe, whatever, with many planets. But to me, it'll end up just feeling like fluff.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, oh, here, this planet's just like a resource planet, I guess. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm curious about like when they showed the town and all that stuff. I was like, oh, this is what I'm into. I want to see like the story, the quest structure, how all that is laid out, all that kind of stuff. Because the gameplay, like the gunplay didn't look good. Like it looked all right, I guess. Like I know that's not the main focus of this game, but this is Bethesda, which is like a huge RPG studio, so I
Right.
expect some kind of leap in their thing. But
When they
For
got
sure.
to the space combat and the flying, that stuff looked pretty chill.
Yeah.
The combat just looked like it had no impact.
I
and
agree.
like in development still, so it could change, obviously.
Yeah.
But like
totally.
yeah, and it's funny because with space games, kind of circling back to the 1,000 planets thing, and like planets looking bland or whatever, it's like, realistically, most planets do, right? Like you go into Elite Dangerous and you're like, okay, most of these are just rocky.
You go to your like Iceland planet.
Exactly. It's just like here's a rocky planet
Yeah.
with nothing on it because that's what like 99.9% of planets are.
True.
Besides gas
Yeah.
giants and stuff. And so it's like 4 major cities seems low, but it's like within navigable space that's like massive. But you know, it's a game. It doesn't need to be realistic.
Yeah, and it's a harder game, I feel like, to show.
It is a really
trailer
hard game to
because
show
it's like,
off
For
like
sure.
that.
you know,
For sure.
the main point are all those stories you have. You know, thinking about those nights you stayed up all night playing Morrowind and Skyrim and
Yeah.
Fallout and all that, and getting lost and so absorbed in the story and the freedom of what you can do. So if that is tapped into with those 1,000 planets and being able to go to space and all that, you know, if it really feels like I'm on an adventure and I look over at the clock, all of a sudden the sun is up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
just don't know. We just don't know.
Totally, yeah. I guess just what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping for a little more, but
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
it's hard to say until we get our
And the combat.
we dive into it. Yeah, like I assume all that super early game, the combat. So, but we'll see, I guess. Over
I'm
time.
also curious to like how the different approaches to combat can be in that setting, you know, because you know, I think particularly with something like Skyrim, it's like, yeah, you can be just like a straight up archer. You can go for like
Stealth.
a stealth build.
Yeah,
Yeah,
magic
you know,
or
go
something,
for
yeah.
more, you know, like quick dagger attacks or big swords, and I feel like in some ways something that's a little bit more futuristic, you're a little bit. It almost feels like more limiting in a way. It's almost like, okay, it's like, well, you either get guns or you get like big hammers.
Gun types, melee
Yeah.
types, you know, pistols, stabbing weapons versus blunt, you know, shotguns versus assault rifles versus heavy rocket launchers, and then all the other skills like talking, lock picking, electronics, sneaking, toxic safety.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of that stuff.
I think what I'm getting the idea is the big hook of this game to separate is it's a whole crafting and resource management kind of game. They're talking about your settlements, and like I know Fallout 4 had like a settlement thing,
I forgot about that. Yeah, the building
like-
stuff, the base building.
but the
And the
base
shipbuilding,
building, the
too.
shipbuilding, and like monitoring, all, like maintaining all these stuff. It seems like they're taking a
shipbuilding looks hype.
yeah, it seems like they're taking a much more crafting route in this game than they have in their other games.
Yeah, the base building looked similar to No Man's Sky. Obviously, it was different systems, but like shipbuilding really seems cool and special to me because I know I haven't played a lot of Star Citizen, but I know a lot of the ships you can just buy, and Elite Dangerous, which I've played a lot more of, is the same. You like save up and buy one of the ships, right? So like building your own ship, Kerbal Space Program style, seems really exciting to me.
Yeah.
That's like the thing that I'm
And
most excited about.
they only briefly mentioned, you know, that you know have a crew as well.
Yeah.
And I'm curious
AI crew.
whether the crew is, you know, your other like main NPC characters, like
Pawns.
your companions and stuff that you'd have
And like Fallout, yeah.
in Fallout
Skyrim,
or Elder
yeah.
or Skyrim, yeah. Or if, you know, there would be like, you know, basically like a place where you go around and you hire people and they have different stats for different
Yeah, totally.
you know, functions of
Yeah.
the ship.
It's the unfortunate thing is just like dream bloat because now
Dream
I'm sitting
bloat,
here
yeah.
thinking
Unlimited
about
dreaming.
dream bloat
Yeah,
because
it
right now I'm
is.
thinking about like, can I decorate
Yeah.
everywhere in my ship like a Sims game? Like
What's the
you
story
know,
like? Can I be just like a smuggler Isla
yeah,
and like
can I
live
be-
on my spaceship
it's
and just like
freelancer?
Yeah, it is. It's insane. It's insane.
It's like unfair to space games to be a space game in the world.
Yeah. Blood, I think one thing that's really hindering this whole thing for me in the back of my mind is Fallout 76.
Sure.
And just like their presentation on that game, you know, it just works kind of thing. And that, I know that wasn't the same team technically that's making this game, but like that's still in the back of my mind,
Right.
that whole fiasco. But on the other hand, the idea that this game's coming out next year makes me feel much more comfortable about what we saw. Like if we saw this and it's like, yo, this is coming out in November, I'd be like, maybe you
Right.
should wait. And they made the right move.
I do feel, you know, going back to the combat stuff, I do feel like they're just like not taking advantage of like the resources that they have with the other studios. You know,
Like id?
Yeah.
like to have id or Machine Games or Arcane get in there and really finesse that combat, like would be so much better than them just
Can you imagine?
essentially doing the Fallout template. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't
Can
have
you
to.
imagine this game with like Doom combat?
Yeah, like
oh,
you
Or even
don't-
Dishonored combat.
yeah, anything.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need like, you know, the movement of Doom or something like that, but probably just the way the shooting feels and your movement also could go a long way. And like, who knows? You could have some really rad spacesuit that enhances your abilities, and they could do something crazy like that.
Some zero gravity fights.
They showed something
yeah.
like that, I think, in the trailer, which sounds cool. Like, that sounds awesome.
Will there be a space casino?
There has to
Sure.
be.
Sure.
There
Sure.
has to be.
Gotta have one.
Absolutely.
Gotta have one.
Absolutely. Something else that came out from the interviews, IGN in particular, Elder Scrolls 6 is pre-production.
Yeah.
Wild.
See you in 4 or 5 years.
Didn't we see that like 4 or 5
Yes.
Yes.
I
years
saw that a
ago?
while ago. Yeah.
That logo reveal?
Yes. It's going to be a while, so get ready. Just wait it out.
And then
Wait, over under Skyrim re-releases
Again?
2 times before.
2 times.
Over under.
2 more times?
Yeah, 2 or more.
Whatever-
I'm saying 2.
Okay, because
Yeah, 2 seems-
whatever the new Nintendo thing is,
Yeah.
get a port for that.
yeah.
Would it count
And
if
like
they
a-
PS Plus or something.
Yeah, some more like
some catalog.
more enhanced version.
verified for Steam Deck?
Yeah,
I
Would
think
that
we could
count?
get 2. Yeah, I think we could get 2.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah,
I
they were
think so.
announced. It was revealed at E3 2018.
Wow.
and it's in pre-production.
And
Damn.
it's in pre-production.
Pre-production.
And what was the quote? What's after?
Fallout 5?
Fallout
Fallout
5.
They've got the next
After,
15
yeah.
years
That's
laid
yeah,
out.
that's legit like 10 years away.
Truly. We're talking PS6. Honestly.
We're talking PS7.
PS7.
Yeah, we're talking
Fallout 5,
PS7 with
yeah.
that.
Jeez.
You get one of these a generation pretty much.
I thought MCU showed their roadmap too early. My goodness.
And then Starfield
Well,
2.
now you know. Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Isla, I know you
Hi.
didn't see all of it, but you popped in a bit for the extended showcase.
Yeah.
I wanted to get in there and like see what had happened in there, but I hadn't had time when prepping. So,
Yeah, I
any thoughts?
reacted to the back half of it. Nothing totally blew my mind or anything, but the Squanch Games guys were talking about
High Life? Is that what it's
High
called?
Life, which seemed kind of cool.
High on Life.
High on Life.
I'm
They were-
so high on this game.
The thing that I heard them say that was most interesting to me was that you can like pick your guns by their personality, and like you pick the ones that you just like the most.
I hated that.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a Brad joke.
I like that. Yeah, I thought that was
I'm
gross.
not really interested in the game very much, but just them talking about like the personalities.
Too
of
weird for
everything. Yeah.
Too weird.
I'm so excited for that game.
Borderlands had some talking guns. They were pretty
Yeah.
funny.
I mean, the dream.
Which Borderlands 3?
The
Yeah.
dream of like Vampire
even, I
Hunter
think.
D, where you have, or like the talking sword stuff and anime, where it's like your hand keeps talking to you. Like maybe someday.
Reference the one though. The
Huh?
one, the only. Reference the only one that
Shadows of the
matters
Damned?
when it comes to talking guns
Shadows of the Damned?
and talking
I
bullets.
don't know. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Yeah. I was thinking anime. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, it was fun, but I don't remember anything like crazy. But I don't remember
Yeah.
anything. So
Yeah, I just remember because I had tuned in to the Hot Wheels thing and actually didn't really retain any of the information because it didn't feel like a genuine discussion. It was like it was like set it up as if the host was interviewing the developer, and it was like, no, the host just said a thing, and then the developer like recited the next part of the press release.
yeah, that was kind of my vibe. Is that it all felt kind of not scripted, but scripted.
It felt really,
Got
really
Yeah.
scripted. Yeah.
They also said Valheim is coming to Game Pass on console, which was
Right.
cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Any local
Yeah.
co-op for that? That'd be crazy.
Wow,
Split
that
screen
would be
Valheim.
crazy. That would be crazy. I don't know about that.
Cool.
Nice. And now, a word from our sponsors.
With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-proportioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh now has 30 dinner recipes to choose from every single week. That's the most choices of any meal kit. And something I didn't know is that you can customize your favorite dishes with the new Hello Custom offerings by swapping out one protein or side for another, upgrading for a more luxe experience, or even adding protein to a veggie meal. That's really nice for someone like me who doesn't eat red meat, but does eat chicken and fish, because a lot of times I'm like, ooh, that beef thing looks really good. I wish I could get it with chicken. Or, ooh, that veggie thing looks really good, but put chicken in it so it's actually food. Ha ha ha. And so that seems like a really nice feature. That means more choices, more variety, and more meals truly tailored to you. My girlfriend and I have been using this and cooking at home. Not something we used to do very much, but now it is. And it's been very nice, saving time and saving money on going out and getting food or having food delivered constantly. I also recently tried to resurrect one of my old cast iron pans because I was very excited, but it was pretty rusty, so I'm going to have to put more work into it. But yes, HelloFresh is really nice because it gives you all the recipes and all the stuff you need, and you just have to have the pans that aren't rusty so you can do it. Go to HelloFresh.com/allies16 and use code allies16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That is 16, not 60 or anything. Allies16. HelloFresh.com/allies16. Hello and fresh, spelled as you would expect. Allies, not alleys. 16, the number. 1 and 6, not spelled out. Yes, it is America's #1 meal kit. Check it out.
And if you are a patron of Easy Allies, thank you. Right after Xbox, got the PC gaming show.
Day 9 hype, shout out.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
Day 9.
Day 9.
Yeah, good stuff. Day 9 and Mika Burton this year.
Yeah, no
Shout
Frankie.
out.
Where's Frankie? You okay, Frankie?
Yeah.
What happened
I
to
think
Frankie?
I think there's news out there. I just don't know the info.
Are there... Ooh.
It's
What?
probably not. It's probably just like COVID or something, or like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll check. I hope nothing bad's going on with Frankie.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing something about Frankie a few months back, but I don't remember the details.
Jeez.
I feel bad for like not knowing and then like saying anything, but yeah.
Yeah, a dangerous game. You're playing a dangerous game.
But I think it's interesting because like in a lot of ways, like a lot of these games could be seen as smaller things, not as big of a deal. But yet, people still seem to walk away from the show with more positive impressions than like a Sony or Microsoft show,
yeah.
which has legitimately larger announcements.
It's because you see the sickest shit like Fallen Aces.
Right.
Oh,
these-
yeah, these like crazy little
Gloomwood,
indie games or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Just the feel good hits, you know, the smaller games that are clearly made with a passion. You know, I'm not saying big games aren't made with a passion, but like usually the story of an indie game is like so personal. You know, why they chose to make this game. And I just love hearing about that. I love hearing those stories. And the PC Gaming Show really leans into that.
Yeah. I think they give a lot of games a fair amount of time too. You know, like you see like a few minutes for each game. For the most part. So I think you get that cross-section pretty well. And I think that was true of the Day of the Devs showcase last week, too.
Yes.
So there are still, though, a lot of games, so I won't go through even half of them. But one of the ones I wanted to pick out, The Altars. One we didn't see gameplay of, but we had, like, a cinematic trailer. The guy wakes up. And like looks down and like he sees his own corpse, and then everyone turns to him, and they're all him.
Multiplicity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a Michael Keaton mod or whatever for that.
Dude, mod him
He's
in.
so funny, dude.
Yeah, great concept for a video game, Blood. I want to see this thing, how it all plays. Yep.
Yeah, and it seems like different altars have different specialties, different personalities, different things going on with them.
One of them is clearly evil.
Multiverses.
You're going to trust the wrong one.
Yep.
Stab you in the back.
Another one we've been seeing hints and bits of here and there, but got a good look at the System Shock remake, Huber.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see this.
crazy. Because the leap from System Shock 1 to 2 is insane. I never finished 1. 2 was my jam growing up. System Shock 2, one of the all-time greats. So this remaking number 1, which again is very, like, going back to the first System Shock is rough to say the least. So this has been in development for a very, very long time. And this showing really raised the needle for me, for my anticipation. It looked great.
Is Warren Spector on this, or is he only on?
I don't know if he's on
He's
it,
not
but
on
he
it.
like commented about
okay.
it.
Yeah, it was interesting. They brought him in and interviewed him about it.
Oh, okay,
and got his
interesting.
thoughts on the game.
Oh, okay, cool.
And also, like, just the, whatever casting they got for the villain. I don't know her name off the top of my head. Shodan. Yeah. It really, like, even having no familiarity with the original game, like, you just get that sense of menacing. That sense, it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, if you haven't played System Shock like me, like, imagine GLaDOS, but not really as playful.
Yeah.
Like, she's messing with you, but not in a way that's not necessarily fun. you know?
And like Dishonored, Thief, Deus Ex, an immersive sim, but a little more claustrophobic, a little more dangerous, threatening at times, but definitely has those qualities.
I mean, a lot more of us came in with BioShock. How do you feel the contrast is there, Huber?
BioShock, definitely a little slower. Like, BioShock's a crazy unhinged game, but, like, System Shock and, like, I'm mainly speaking about 2, that's what I played the most. And it has been a while. But, yeah, BioShock always was, like, a little more relaxing, a little more soothing, even though, again, the splicers are freaky and out of control. But System Shock is just more menacing and more, like, scary, You're on a scary spaceship, and there's, like, mutant freakos everywhere, so, yeah.
Space Horror's back.
Yeah.
Game.
Oh,
big time.
yeah. This whole week.
So many.
There's been so many
Yeah.
space horror games. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a big amount.
Eating nicely.
Yeah. At first, I was like, oh, whatever, meme. People are going to meme. And then, like, I saw, like, 1 or 2 more. And I was like, okay, all right. There's a lot. Because even if it's not, like, a space horror game, it's a space game.
Right.
There's so many in space.
We also had a couple of these, but the one I'm going to point out is Demon School.
Oh, I saw this actually.
Like-
yeah.
Kind of like more pixel art, kind
Yeah.
of Persona inspired.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks neat. I'm curious about it. I don't know like how much I could necessarily say, but yeah, it looked like very Persona inspired with I think it was like a tactics grid combat system this time around. So sign me up. Looks fun.
High school? In.
Yeah.
I think it's actually university. I think it's
University?
a little bit older.
In.
Yeah.
So in. 100%.
And then I forgot to mark it, but Isla, you also were eyeing Decarnation,
Yeah, it
which
looks
had some
good.
similar vibes, but a different direction.
Yeah, it looks really cool. The art style's really cool. The artist actually like reached out on Twitter and like because of the demand from everyone loving the key art that they did, like posted the key art in a high
So
res
good.
and it looks so good. It's got like the girl with the like crazy Tetsuo stuff coming out of the back of her.
Yeah.
V cool. The Frankie stuff. She had a baby.
Got
she
it.
like criticized Dota for a second. But like I can't find anything else. No, like I don't know.
Dude, Gabe Newell came for her.
I've been trying to find it, but like
I mean, having a baby could be enough.
Yeah, that's enough.
who knows?
Yeah, 2.
Criticize Dota. Take it off the show.
I mean, I don't know.
One that Isla actually got to play a little bit, or at least watch somebody play. I don't know if you got your hands on a controller. Agent 64, Spies Never Die.
I played it for a couple of seconds, I think. I mostly watched Damiani play it. It looks pretty good. Pretty good.
It was a GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
Perfect Dark.
GoldenEye inspired.
Perfect Dark
Yeah,
game. Yeah.
made by, if I understand correctly, a fairly small development team. And so people were disappointed that it doesn't have multiplayer.
Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah.
but the developer, you know,
Update.
hasn't said there won't be or will be. I think so. People are hoping that maybe someday there will be. But yeah. Looks cute.
Looks
Yeah,
so
looks
awesome.
fun.
There's
Looks
a demo
cool.
you can play right now.
Yeah, I gotta download that and play that. I haven't had time. That's
Yeah.
like the number one demo on my list.
The character models,
Everything looks
Yeah.
perfect.
the textures,
It's great.
the way the gun moves on the screen.
The shattering glass.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that reminds me. I could have sworn we would see that GoldenEye remaster.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
me
saying
too.
about these
Yeah.
leaks. I love it because now there's I can't trust
Well,
anything because
'cause-
leaks suck. I don't want them. I don't want to see any leaks.
Better get off the internet then, because you're gonna see him.
Well, because I'm always I try not to look at them, but they pierce your mind. They
do.
pierce your eyes.
Yeah. They
do.
But with all these leaks that didn't happen, now they can't be trusted. None of them can be
Yeah, but
trusted.
I mean,
there
this-
will always be a seed of doubt. Is what I'm trying
The
to say.
GoldenEye one was weird because the
It was
leak
achievement.
achievements.
Yeah, it was the achievements.
So like, what? How did that happen? Yeah.
yeah, that's like yeah.
The Forza Hot Wheels thing came about.
Yes.
Yeah. We saw that.
Yep.
Damn leaks.
Damn roses. Damn thorns.
Brad, one that I'm very interested to get your take on because you got to get an early look at this. Stormgate.
Yeah.
Ex-Blizzard devs making a new RTS.
What did they show for it here?
3 screenshots and a cinematic trailer.
Well, later on they showed a
more
little bit
at
of
the-
gameplay.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
they
they
did.
showed
Yeah,
more
They
here.
did.
in this
At
in the
the
PC gaming
Yeah,
show specifically.
so like yeah, I did see some stuff on this. I didn't see like what I saw of gameplay was not like a match of people playing or units like necessarily fighting. I saw some units in game and then just kind of talking about the structure of the game, what it's going to be like. I'm sure they talked about it's like free to play kind of thing, and there's a really big emphasis on co-op because StarCraft 2 had co-op and it like blew their expectations kind of way how many people enjoyed it, so they really focused in on that. And like of course the 1v1 mode, but they're also emphasizing a 3v3 mode for like team play.
Sick.
So yeah, like I haven't seen a ton of the game itself. I saw that cinematic trailer they showed also, but it's like, yeah, this is very much like a successor to StarCraft and Warcraft 3 kind of game. So sign me up. I'm down.
Yeah, I played 1 billion hours of StarCraft 2 in college. It was definitely a very... I was invested, to say the least. Haven't been invested in an RTS since. Since a little bit after
there
Legacy of the
haven't
Void.
been a
That
lot
was
of
it.
big name RTSs.
No,
it's
it's
been
all
invested in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all like 4X and big grand strategy and stuff like that. So the pedigree is there
Yeah,
clearly.
this sounds like much more in line
Yeah.
with like a classic Blizzard RTS.
It's
I mean, it
Total
is
War,
one.
but it's a different style, right?
yeah,
Yeah. This is going to be very similar to Warcraft 3 and StarCraft, because they talked about like creeps on the map and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I know all that kind of stuff. You're bringing all that up, but yeah, it's still a ways away. I think they said it. I think they said on the thing it's like whatever, they're gonna have a closed beta sometime next year or something like that. So this game's got a ways to go still, but what I've heard so far is promising, and I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that surprised me the most is that like, it still feels just like very like conceptual introduction.
Yeah.
Whereas like you were in that meeting for a good while, of them talking to you and telling you everything about it.
Yeah, they were talking about like a lot of their plans and kind of things
But
like that.
but not showing so much.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
see like a lot of like the gameplay. I saw some of the units and stuff like that and philosophy behind some of the things, but not like I didn't see like a match take place or anything like that.
It's hard to even have a feeling
Right.
when it's so conceptual. It's like, all right, whatever,
But yeah,
We'll see it, I
just from
guess.
what they've said to me,
Yeah.
sounds cool. I'm curious about
Yeah.
it, so we'll be keeping an eye on it for sure.
The cinematic, I thought, did more harm than good in a way.
Right.
Agreed.
Like it was unnecessary. I think if it's not there, you don't lose anything. But I think by showing it, it was kind of just like.
So what I think
looks-
about the cinematic is like a lot of those games, especially like StarCraft, is they had cinematics and they were a big part of those games. But I think this game's still a ways out, and having like maybe some gameplay would have helped a lot. But
they
like
showed
seeing a
some
cinematic
attacks.
wasn't surprising to me at all, and it totally adds up for why they would show that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the cinematic was like, yo, here. StarCraft successor for
Yeah.
sure, 100%.
Terran
here's
fighting a
here's
Zerg.
Kerrigan, new character,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Totally.
One just real quick shout out because it was one of these things where it's like you make such a simple change to something and it feels like a different game. Lesara Summit Kingdom. Remember, this is like the city building game, but it was on a mountain.
Oh yeah, that was
side.
cool. That was cool. That was cool.
And so like everything
so
was
fun.
angles. Yeah.
That's neat.
And
Cozy.
avalanches and all of that kind of thing. Yeah.
Super cozy looking. Come in on a weekday afternoon, watch Don and Isla stream that. Sounds
Yeah,
delightful.
man. You know it.
A little ways after that, we got that New Blood montage
Yes.
with Gloomwood at the end.
Oh, right, Gloomwood.
Yep. Gloomwood. Fallen Aces.
Fallen Aces.
One other incredible one in there, Blood. Help me out.
Oh, I'm blanking on the full list. I
didn't
didn't
write
write them all down, but Gloomwood was the highlight. They kind of rushed through the rest of
Yeah.
them. They really wanted to show off a little bit more of that. Mm-hmm. What do you think? What are you feeling? Why should people be excited about this game that looks, like Quake era graphics?
Yeah, it's got
Lost Faith or whatever, maybe? That's what you're thinking of? Lost Faith, whatever?
maybe, yeah. Yeah, we were talking about immersive sims just a minute ago. It kind of has that vibe. It's definitely a retro throwback to those days. And just the atmosphere is really good, all you Bloodborne lovers out there. This gothic Victorian aesthetic just works really well. Really menacing, memorable villains coming at you. When they see you, their eyes light up red and they attack. And just cool weapons. You got your sword cane, you got your revolver, shotgun, and it's just super immersive. Like you're stealthing through, solving some puzzles. And just from the demos we played, I guess it was the closed alpha we learned now, right?
Yeah, it was not
Yeah.
closed, it was an alpha demo.
Yeah, we played.
No, it says pre-alpha demo, I think.
Got it.
Even the pre-alpha demo years ago was excellent. So just such high hopes. For
Just like the vibes of it,
Yeah.
the style of it, the confidence of it, and like Hero was saying, the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the promise of various games like Thief
yeah.
and like all these games that like never quite hit the mark, and I just have such high hopes for this title. And like of course I love that kind of graphic style too.
Yeah.
So I'm just over the moon for this game. I can't wait. And like the early access is kind of weird because it's like a single player thing maybe, but I mean like I'm excited to jump in.
And then the last thing that closed out the PC gaming show, which I think is a very fascinating way to do this, is they had a long gameplay walkthrough of a mod
Insane.
for Half-Life Alyx
Yeah.
called
Whoa,
Levitation.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a 10-minute gameplay
For a mod?
walkthrough.
Really?
A mod.
For a mod.
Very
yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which looked cool.
Gordon Freeman getting called out by name
Yeah.
in the game.
G-Man showed up.
G-Man
Yeah.
visible.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I was just thinking of, the Left 4 Dead mod that ended up becoming canon to the game. That's just like part of 2, it's just on the list. Part of it. And I wonder, the
Valve.
reception of this.
Yeah.
If this will just become an official part of it.
Thing from them, yeah.
Maybe not.
be.
Maybe not. Maybe it was just really highlighting the PC gaming
Right.
community. Mods are at the forefront, such a big part of it. And what more representative of that, too, is freaking Half-Life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think just ending with that vibe
Right.
And like
is really cool.
so many big, huge developers now started as modders, and like
Yeah.
some of the biggest, most lucrative genres in the whole world started as mods, So it's just like, yeah, it's always a fun way to
PUBG.
showcase new
Yeah.
PUBG, MOBAs. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yep.
So yeah, who knows what these people will go on to do next?
Yeah, it's very curious to me because, like you're saying, I could see, at some point, kind of similar to like a Portal or something, like Valve stepping in and saying like, all right, we
Yeah.
like what you got. We'll take this and then we'll get our writers to polish up the story and make sure that everything lines up where it's supposed to be and fits in a timeline. And
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like as excellent as Half-Life Alyx is, I feel like oddly like this demo went on a little long because it wasn't showing me a whole lot new to that game.
Yeah,
Right? Like
fair.
it was like I'm seeing more of Half-Life Alyx and like this is a new level.
Yeah.
And that's
I feel
cool.
like we saw a new
but
enemy type.
I don't feel like we're doing a whole lot else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And obviously you lose some of it by not being in
Being in
VR.
VR, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
So just definitely a wild thing to end on.
What are your thoughts on
Unexpected.
that show overall, PC game show?
Cozy, loved it.
Yeah.
I always have a good time. Like day 9 is a joy to watch. Like
Yeah.
just makes the whole thing, the energy, easy breezy.
He's an incredible host.
Yeah, it never drags, even when they're talking about things that aren't necessarily right in my wheelhouse that I'm emotionally invested in.
They had some
He makes
sponsor
me
thing
invested.
in there for a little bit.
Yeah, whoever it was this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always some
of course.
sometimes, but
Yeah.
for the most part,
They had a lot of bloopers and stuff at the very
that's
end
fun.
that
with
was
the credits,
funny.
which
That
was
was
really good.
funny, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I'm just gonna zoom through some of these other things because we had Capcom, we had Wholesome Games, we had the Future Play, we had just so many other
Hold
things.
on, I didn't say Resident Evil 4 remake. Yes.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, baby, looking good. Leon's back.
yeah. Well, we'll talk about Capcom first.
Yeah, I wasn't there for any of it. Like the Resident Evil Village stuff was cool to hear. Like the
Yeah,
third
dude.
person mode,
Insane.
is so rad.
So
now
sick.
I'm gonna have
stoked for
two new ways to play this game:
Yeah.
VR and this third person mode,
Yep.
dude.
And Lady D and
In the-
Heisenberg and Mercenaries mode.
And Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
It's just like, dude, yeah, Psycho Chris. Exactly. Like punch some dude. Like, yes, this
Lady
is great.
D threw a chair.
Yeah,
at a
that
truck.
was really cool. If they're having like a lot of fun with this, like Heisenberg had like the drill guy, I think, charge an enemy or one of his freakos. Like,
I think he flips you off too.
yeah, that's fun. I'm super into
Yeah,
that.
like spawns his own ads. It seems.
Yeah, and what was the Rose DLC? I forgot what it's called.
Shadows of Rose.
I think it's a okay idea. I kind of wish it was something different, especially because it looks like a lot of it's gonna be repeating the environments we've seen. Like I love the castle. Don't get me wrong, but like seeing these same locales, I hope it adds more newer things than I expected to.
I agree.
Like it's cool to play as her. I think that's
Yeah.
really rad.
Yeah.
But
I'm very excited that it's taking place after the game
Yeah.
and that we're doing that stuff. I'm very not excited that the implication that it's all kind of in her mind or something.
meta
like,
Mycete, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still
I
around.
hope it has like real implications and
It
like
will.
actual stuff happens, not just like Mind Palace. Like it's like Legion or something where it's like you spend 8 episodes trapped in a mind hospital and it's like clearly this is in your head. Like move forward, please. Yeah, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm stoked as hell.
Yeah, totally. Super excited. But especially if they like dive into like the history of the meta Mycete being in that village and like going through it throughout time.
Seriously. Yeah,
You know,
just
they can
just-
get wild with this.
Yeah, the idea that the world is fighting back, kind of like stem the evil within. I really want to see things get weird and crazy. And not too much backtracking.
Right.
Even though it does look like a remixed, it's like the castle remixed.
Yeah.
Hopefully a lot of new
Hopefully there's a lot
places.
more other things besides that. I'm
Or
sure there
like
will be.
Evil Duke? Like what's going on with you?
Evil meta Mycete.
Right, what was-
Unacceptable, Isla.
What was the
Duke.
I know.
the
Unacceptable.
the area with the dolls, Bonaventura or something like that?
Yeah.
Beneviento.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't
Beneviento.
remember the name of it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the closest that like Resident Evil has really gotten to this like more psychological kind
Sure.
of craziness. So yeah, while I kind of share the skepticism of like, okay, well if none of this is really real, like how much am I going to be invested? But gameplay wise, I love things
Totally,
just
yeah.
kind of flipping on their heads.
And reverse, baby. They
And reverse.
finally showed it again. It's coming back.
What was amazing with the reverse thing is that it literally at first only got a still frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
Quick, sweep that under the rug.
Oh, yeah, reverse.
We saw a little bit of Sunbreak, and there's that demo out now.
Yeah.
And then
stuff.
Street Fighter 6 is
Street Fighter 6
next
looks
to
really
nothing.
fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm really excited for
But
it.
yeah, your thoughts of over the whole show. Of what you've
Yeah,
seen.
like from what I've seen, I heard like Ben talking about it and all that kind of stuff. It sounds really promising to me. Like I played a little bit of 5, but it didn't really grab me. But this looks, I think visually it looks a lot better than 5 to me. Like the style and like just seeing all these characters back and like the time, like how much older they are, is super interesting to me. And like, of course, this open like where this adventure mode's gonna be sounds super appealing to me. Like roaming the city and. Dragon like uppercutting cans and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that sounds really fun. I'm really into that. So it looks really sweet.
Exoprimal.
Weird game.
Weird game. Did you see this whole thing with a giant AI that's keeping you trapped here fighting dinosaurs?
That got me even more invested into it.
Yeah.
The more insane this game gets, the better it'll be for me. Yeah, I mean, like, looks weird. Like, I'll try it for sure. I can't say I'm particularly hyped about it or anything though, but yeah, I'm curious. Like, shoot some dinos with everyone? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Co-op. Let's go.
400 raptors just like flowing.
Like, that's how, if I could see Mike
Like a
on the
river.
ground getting swarmed by dinos, like, go without me! Just like, that's what I'm into,
Story.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
We talked about Dragon's Dogma. Oh, and then, Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, it looks great, dude.
It looks good. It's
looks
just weird
good.
for them to like bring it up and then bring it back. And it's like, okay, we're going to walk 10 feet.
Yeah,
Not too much more.
I really hope they were showing like Leon shoots someone. I wanted to see some capabilities of Leon being different than RE2 remake Leon, because in 4 he's much more capable. Like I want to see him. Is he gonna roundhouse some dude or something like that? But the tone was like way more sinister than the original 4, and like I'm totally cool with that. Like 4 is a very cheesy game, and like that definitely has its place. I got no problem with that, but I'm really curious to see them tackle this game and what they change. I'm all for it. Like, man, when they showed some of those like faces of those guys, man, they look so good.
Yeah, I loved the atmosphere just in that first house. I mean, I know it wasn't a lot to go on, but like I almost appreciate it more than a big gameplay blowout is like, give me this 10 seconds for me to just dream about every night. Because that one little bit, just thinking back to that original encounter in your mind versus just seeing the new one, I mean, it's night and day. Way more scary looking, way more sinister.
Yeah, I think the only thing I didn't like about the Capcom event being specifically there is like they didn't show really that much new from the PlayStation one. They showed like a couple different shots, which is fine, but I just want more because it's like close, like we have a firm date for this game. It's like it's locked in, baby. But it was nice to see like Leon's face actually and all that kind of stuff. So, I think everyone's very excited here.
Yeah.
Everyone.
10 out of 10.
Everyone's gonna play that game.
Day one.
Everyone.
Day zero.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Before we move on, really quick about the Dragon's Dogma thing. Having seen the real announcement now and that there is a 2 and whatever, I get the idea of wanting to get people to watch their documentary because it was really cute. But at the same time, like 6,000 people were waiting for that documentary.
Right.
And 70,000 were watching this direct. So I really do wonder why not just like have a dude in a t-shirt in the direct and then say, hey, if you like Dragon's Dogma, we're doing a documentary next week. Like that seems like a better way to do it, maybe, but whatever.
Or, a lot of this stuff was sort of replicated from things that they'd put in the State of Play and the Xbox event. And it just feels like, man, they could have done this in so many other places and had like a bigger audience watching. It's interesting that they just spread themselves out the way that they did.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Especially when they already had an event.
Like even their own event, it's like almost feels not necessary. The big thing there being the Resident Evil Village DLC, and the rest of it is stuff that's like, we kind of knew about this already. You told us this already.
Yeah, you just got a little more of a look.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of Sunbreak in there and stuff like that, which is cool.
Yeah, I think Sunbreak is probably the biggest thing from them. Yeah.
Maybe it's so that they can spend more time per thing. Like they control how long they show things.
Yep.
Whereas if they're like wedged into a State of Play or an Xbox event,
they only got
maybe they're like, you can only show 3 minutes of this, and it's like, oh, okay.
Right. It's just interesting to like looking back at the Dragon's Dogma thing, and it feels like a lot of what that 10th anniversary thing was doing was trying to sort of educate people on what
Dogma.
is so great about this game and all our inspirations and all of that. But by segmenting it off onto its own thing, it's like, well, you're only speaking to the people that already know this.
Right, exactly.
You're so right.
And also like
you both are so right.
And also like something getting a sequel is good advertisement for the first one because it's like, okay, it must have been good enough to get a sequel. Might as well check it out. I better buy it, like
check it out.
Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma, dude. Play Dragon's Dogma.
There was one more little announcement here, and that is Resident Evil 2, 3, and 7.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Got updates,
Yeah.
which are seeming to have some issues.
Have some
7
issues.
seems all right.
Yeah, I've heard 7's the best
Yeah, I
so
saw
far.
Susie's
Yeah.
tweets about it.
Yeah,
It was,
so
like,
2 and
framey weird.
3 have had like frame rate and lighting issues to the point that Capcom has like given Steam users the option to roll back onto.
It also like broke like every mod for those games.
Oh,
They'd
sure.
have to like, redo them for this new version kind of thing. So they rolled it back on PC to help with that too, which is great. That's awesome. I'm glad they did that. But I'm sure they'll patch this game over time, hopefully. So yeah, if they can get it all sorted out, it'd be very sweet.
Free of charge, can't complain.
Yeah, it's a very nice gesture.
Free of
yeah.
charge, can't complain.
I mean, I could complain that it's not as good as it should be, but I'm very happy they did
Yeah.
it and it's free. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Isla, you watched a whole bunch of these things
Sure
on
did.
Saturday. Wholesome
Yeah.
Future Play, Future Game Show. Wholesome was nuts.
Wholesome was crazy. Like
Somebody's got to tell
if
them
we-
not to do that again.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but like
does
it
that
did.
mean?
It kind of fought itself because after like a little while, you start to realize like, my God, people like frogs and farming simulators. There's like 70 of these things,
Yeah.
and it's like after a while, it's like all of these individually seem awesome, but we are clearly oversaturated on this idea. Like witches and frogs and farming sims.
Well, then
Everything.
It just invites comparisons and so just to give everybody a baseline for this, especially Brad. Like, this is like an hour-long presentation. It had about 92 games.
They said about 100.
They said about 100.
Wow.
I counted 92 when I went
God.
back.
wow.
Oh my God.
Why did you do that?
Well, I did timestamps and stuff for this.
You are a machine.
What a hero.
And
Go to sleep,
some
Glenn.
of these things were like literally like 8 seconds long.
Oh, wow.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. And so, like, even things that, like, writing down, like, okay, this seemed like a cool game. I still had to go back and, like, look again and, like, I don't remember what this was.
Yeah.
It
at all.
basically, it
Yeah.
felt almost like a full hour of the, like here's a bunch of rapid fire games, like, montage thing, you know? It felt like a
Yeah.
full hour of that.
Well, they just got, like, shorter and shorter and shorter as it
Yeah.
went on. You know, like, at the
Speed
beginning, they
run.
were only, like, 30 seconds, and then they got down to, like, 15 seconds. And then, like I said, like, some of them just,
Yeah,
here it
real-
is, and there it
real
goes.
brief.
And I mean, I assume it's because they accept submissions and got a lot of interest. And like, I love the idea of getting a bunch of indie devs to get their names out there and stuff. But I do have to wonder, like, there has to be a saturation point.
Oh,
There
yeah.
has to
No,
be,
I-
you know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think it's hurting half
I know
of these
for
games.
a fact that there are people that are not happy with
Yeah.
how much there ended up being there and how little
Yeah.
time they had. Yeah.
Because it's like, it has to hurt, like, 6 of these farming simulators with frogs that there are 15 other ones, you know?
Right. Well, I have a few that I wrote down with like Lumberjack, which
Like Bear and Breakfast, you know?
yeah, well, yeah, it's the thing. You mix it up with Bear and Breakfast, even though they look completely different.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like a bear in a hat going around with an axe, Huber, smashing up like human buildings and things and like
Yo.
restoring the environment.
Yo, Jody.
Which then gets conflated with Terra Nil, which is about
Right.
that kind of. So it's just like, yeah.
Yeah. And again, those play very differently.
Right.
But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a similar concept.
That's the thing. I don't want to give the impression that I'm against or not excited for these games. It's just that I feel like it's bad for them to have so many that you can compare them to in such rapid succession.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
I want them all to get their chance, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's like even like really creative ideas and art styles, it's like when you have
Yeah.
that much put together, they just start to blur. Mika and the Witch's Mountain. It was a cool one. It was a 3D adventure with like a little witch flying around on a broom.
It looked like a better Room in the Night Sky, like we did on Trash
Oh,
Baby.
I was just thinking of that.
I was thinking Kiki's
Yeah.
delivery service.
Probably better.
It's probably an inspiration there for sure. There's a Frog's Tale. Speaking of frogs, lots of frogs just all over.
So many frogs.
Frogs in space.
Yeah.
Next.
Well,
And rabbits.
The
Lots of
AAA
rabbits.
events. The AAA events were about space horror games, and these were about frogs
Mm-hmm.
and rabbits.
But this is a pixel art game. The kind of like overworld stuff felt like more like a 2D Zelda. Mm-hmm. But then you'd get into combat and it'd be more turn-based.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And there's this cool transition to where like it went from like the top down and the like camera like tilted to like more sideways. Mm-hmm. And that looked like pretty impressive. It's pretty cool. Paper Trail is this top-down adventure, but like when you're looking at the screen, it's like the character is actually like walking like as if the environment is like drawn on a piece of paper. And then you can take the paper and like fold it.
Oh, whoa.
And change like the pathways that you can go on.
It's kind of like perspective puzzles like Echo Chrome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of that
2D
vibe.
Sort of.
Kaichu. It's a kaiju dating sim.
All right.
You can get giant monsters to kiss.
All right, yeah. Sure, it's dating sim for everything.
Yep.
Why not?
Why not?
Toggles you play as like what looked like a Roomba or like the thing from Mario and Rabbids.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You're cleaning up things, but then you're also like dropping down cubes that you could kind of like use to like get to higher ground.
Whoa.
Yo, when's that Fly game come out?
Time flies.
Time
Mr.
flies.
Mosquito.
Time Flies looked
I think there's a demo.
amazing.
Is there a demo for that
I'll
one for
check.
Steam? I think there might be. I played it at Day of the Devs thing at Summer Game Fest.
Good.
It was cool. I think I'm curious whether like the thing I saw is like all of it or if it's like just like the first chapter.
Got it.
Because it feels like something where it's like you're trying to like there's like literally like a checklist, like a bucket list.
Yeah.
And
so
you're
that's like one world or whatever.
Is that one world or is
Yeah.
it like the challenge like trying to do all of it in a single run?
Got it.
So
I'm not seeing a demo on Steam.
okay.
It instead of the New Blood Classic where it says soon in all caps with a TM.
Soon TM, yeah.
This has coming soon period.
Coming soon.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
promising? I don't know.
Cool.
The Spirit and the Mouse kind of gave us these Ratatouille vibes, I think, because the narrator was French. But you play as a mouse that has some kind of relationship with like a ghost or something, and you have like electrical powers and would like jump into like sewer grates and yeah,
Crazy.
It was interesting. Hamster on Rails looked like Captain Toad.
Oh, cool.
And you're like literally like this cute little hamster and they were like mine carts, but it would have like this cube design of the world.
Sounds
that
delightful.
You could
Yeah,
rotate around.
smart.
Yeah, and it solve puzzles to get through to the next
Excellent,
area,
yeah.
open up gates.
Captain Toad was sweet, so yeah.
Also looks like you can customize your hamster.
Ooh,
Hell
good
yeah.
idea.
Really,
Great idea.
Really cute Hamtaro kind of design for
Excellent.
the character.
Excellent.
Hats? Hamster hats?
Hats,
Probably.
sunglasses.
Hope so.
Probably.
Oh, need sunglasses.
Gotta have sunglasses.
Need sunglasses.
Yeah.
I only wrote down one from the Future Play Direct, but I think it was also somewhere else too.
They showed it at the end of Wholesome
Got it.
really quickly, but then we saw more here, yeah.
Yeah, Lost Twins 2. It's kind of a side scroller where you're playing as two different characters.
Oh.
But what's weird is it's like you could like take like rooms and like move them around. Mm-hmm. It's hard to describe. But yeah, it's like different elements of the environment. It's like you could like have like move this room and do that, and it's like
Oh, okay. While controlling two different characters.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So navigating the environment in like a really different way.
Cool.
A couple from the Future Game Show. Ludo looked basically like PT.
Like straight up like PT.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And even like some of the stuff that like was in this like Silent Hills trailer that was never in PT, you know, like it felt like they were drawing on a little bit of that.
Like it literally had a part where it was like, "Don't stare at me," written on the wall,
yeah.
and then you just stare at it and something happens, you know.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Which
Gouge it
like,
out.
seems cool.
Tray racers.
This game looks sweet.
It's like snowboard kids, Brad.
Oh,
Sick.
Like you're
Shit.
going
What?
downhill on like trays.
What?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like there's a lot of characters.
You say
on
snowboard
screen.
kids.
Yeah, what?
I'm interested.
The hell? Send me my bingo card, Brad.
Damn.
The Entropy Center, you have like this time gun that like you can like point at things and like rewind or
There's
forward
already
them
too
in
many
time.
puzzles.
Yeah, I'm
There's
sure.
already
I was
too
gonna
many
say,
puzzles
I thought about
immediately.
Huber. I thought
Already.
about Huber for this one. I was like,
Yeah,
Huber's not gonna like
man.
this.
And there's this like overarching thing with like the more puzzles that you actually solve, then like you're like building up like time energy to like the Earth is like on fire, and so like once you get enough time energy, then you can like rewind the Earth.
Damn.
It's actually a really intense concept.
That is crazy.
But yeah, I think you're on some base on the moon or something.
Sick.
Like
That
or
sounds
space
awesome.
Station.
Not a Huber game.
Guaranteed laser puzzles.
Just play with Isla.
Yeah.
She'll help you out.
I think there's like just some things that like looked really neat, were like things that were like crumbled and stuff that you like got all the pieces back together, like made whole again.
Nice. It was neat, like jumping across and making a bridge. It looked cool.
The Last Faith, which I think was like a side-scrolling sort of like mix of like Bloodborne, Metroidvania kind of thing.
Oh,
This looks sick as hell.
I saw this. Yeah, I saw it. It
Yeah.
looked like Blasphemous with
Yeah, dude.
Bloodborne. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
100% in.
Blaspheborn.
Blaspheborn. And then yeah, so that's kind of all of it, you know, like highlights and stuff I wrote down from all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think about just this week? These crazy shows in general.
Some good games. There's a lot of events again. I wish they were all kind of closer together.
Right.
Instead of being spaced out over like a week and a half. Like I wish, like the Capcom thing didn't need to be like 2 things. The Dragon's Dogma, that should have just been in the Capcom thing.
Right.
Stuff like that. But like some really great announcements. Like I was eating healthy this whole time. Like seeing Callisto Protocol was awesome. Like, damn, I'm super into that game. Like, let's go. And like we said, Resident Evil, Street Fighter, like Capcom showed a lot of rad games, a lot of cool indie games. Getting to see like Hollow Knight, even though there's no date, was very nice to see and just see it
lives.
again. Yeah, it lives.
It's been a
It's
few
just
years
like
since it's shown up, yeah.
it was just nice to see. But yeah, like a lot of great games coming out, and I'm super excited for what's to come. Like we didn't even see like any Sony's like first party really this entire time. We just saw third party stuff from them. It's like
Right. Yeah, the only
and like
first
no
party was Last of Us, yeah.
and no Nintendo at all this whole time. It's like, man, we still got stuff to come, stuff coming, hopefully.
This is the definitive, like, nail in what is now the modern, like, not E3, I think. Like, my expectations now for these are just so set.
Yeah.
Like, this is how they've been going in the past couple years, and I feel like this is how they will continue to be. This kind of Keeley style, multiple events, some big announcements, some not so big announcements, a lot of disappointment, a lot of hype, you know, just kind of all the messiness of it all.
Yeah.
And you know, we're always going to be living in the shadow of the legendary E3 moments that no one sees coming. But for what this is, I have a blast each year, and I thought this year was solid.
Oh, Blood, I wanted to ask you, what did you think? Because, you know, Keeley did his, like, Summer
Yeah.
Game Fest, like, playing in person. How was that?
It was very good, actually, and very interesting. Like Huber, you say you know it's set expectations. I have no clue
Yeah.
where my expectations should be for next year.
Yeah.
It
Probably
is
higher
really
now, though, because
like a
that
blank
looked so
slate.
well done.
It's like a blank slate because this event this year, like I said, it was super well done.
It
It was
looked
super
smooth.
small.
It
It was
looked
super
smooth.
intimate. Everything was smooth, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And a lot of like the things that I would criticize in terms of like not feeling like there was necessarily like enough to do between appointments or whatever. It's just because it was so small, right? And it's because there was no Nintendo, there was no Sony, there was no Xbox, there was no Ubisoft, there was no Activision. Like, you know, if more people had been there,
Yeah.
even if they had a smaller slate of games, so, you know, like Capcom just brought Street Fighter.
Yeah.
We didn't play Resident Evil 4 here. We just, you know, played Street Fighter and that was it. You know, even if each individual publisher is that small and there were more publishers, like there would be no downtime. Like we just wouldn't have it, right?
Yeah.
And so, but on the flip side of that, like the amazing thing was because it was so small, getting the chance to reconnect and
Talk
to
to the
talk
devs,
everyone.
actually?
And to like the day of the devs, it's like, you know, almost every one of those stations.
Yeah.
I sat down with the person I just saw on the day at the Dev Showcase, and they're like, "Hey, I watched your reactions. Thank you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera."
And it seems really good for PR because like people were just live tweeting like, "What do you want me to ask him?" Like Max was getting like legit details like
Right.
up to the second, just like right there.
Right.
So I just think the whole process, it was.
And so I think
great.
it's going to be really about finding that balance of like, okay, how do we keep this intimacy of, you know, where we're actually talking to real developers and, you know, and other people in the media as well. You know, that's a big part of it too. It's just being, you know, like constantly, like Ben and Mitch and Max getting together. Like, what did you figure out? What does this do? What do you think about this? You know, and having the time to digest some of that stuff, I think it really goes a long way compared to the E3 show floor, where it's like, you know, North Hall and South Hall are like a 10-minute walk away from each other, and you see somebody in the hall, it's like, oh, hey, how you doing? It's like, I gotta get to my appointment. You know, it's just like the rush of it. And it's, you know, they are very clearly going to come back, have another event next year, scale it up, you know, and
Scale it up.
and that's sort of my worry is like, okay, to what degree do you scale it up? You know, it's like, will there be, you know, that separate space for devs and media versus a public space? You know, like
the game of chicken is coming between Keighley
And that's the thing, too.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's
What's
coming.
E3 gonna do?
Exactly.
They're shaking in their boots.
Yeah, a lot's gonna happen. Like, where do we go from here next year when, you know, E3 is back on and Keighley is also back on? So who knows?
And it's the thing that's crazy about E3 is so much of its design is based in its origins, right? So much of the giant booths and the lights and the skate parks and the noise was all about attracting people to your booth, getting your retailers and your media and everybody to come to your booth. But the way that it's worked for us at E3 the past few years, as well as for this event, is like most of what we do is appointment based. Like, you're not going to attract our attention. Like, we can't get in. You know, we're not going to stand in line for 4 hours or anything. Yeah. So I think that's gonna be a big part of it.
Were you able to
That's
just
some good insight.
kind of walk up to a game with Keighley saying just play something?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. There were a few times when like Power Wash Simulator was open. I was able to walk up to Escape Academy and like, or we're all appointments, but there's still a slot open, so I'll get you in at 4:00.
Oh, okay.
Street Fighter was the one where it's like people could just kind of keep.
That's cool.
Coming up.
Line,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that's rad.
But like Day of the Devs is the one that I'm like the most disappointed by because they had like 8 games to cover in an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and just hot potato seat each game.
Gotta go fast.
But then in terms of just accommodations, you know, they had parking there for us.
Great.
They had meals there for us. So we didn't have to go
That's awesome.
hunt something down.
Yeah.
You know, they had, you know, we could just go up and get a drink anytime we needed something. It was like, you want a coffee? Go get a coffee. You want a pastry? Go get a pastry. Like, all of that stuff was just very simple and taken care of. And then they had like a theater room off to the side to where, you know, once in a while, like Square Enix or Day of the Devs or whatever, they would have like a presentation or a Q&A.
Okay.
And if you wanted to just go sit in that theater room and you know, participate in that, you could. Or in between things, you could just use that as a place to kind of just chill out and get on your laptop and write a story or whatever.
Yeah, hopefully this will be like a proof of concept kind of thing for maybe publishers to have a little more confidence in whatever Keighley's going to do or getting back in there in person, something like that.
And that's the thing, too, is like not only was I talking to Keighley and I Am 8-Bit about, you know, what they had done this year and what they were talking about, you know, looking to do next year, but I was also talking to, you know, people at those publishers, you know, and the vibes there were good too.
Yeah, they're probably excited to show their games off with people. Yeah.
But you know, like one of the guys from Bandai Namco, you know, it was also about, you know, seeing what the event was and seeing what the space was, because it was, you know, basically like a converted warehouse.
Right. Yeah.
Lots of sunlight coming in, open flow, you know, airflow and all of that. And so they specifically, you know, brought things that fit that vibe. You know, they've specifically brought like the Lego game and the JoJo game and like stuff that's gonna be more colorful and more fun, rather than, you know, maybe it wouldn't have been a good fit for Resident Evil.
Sure,
have, like, all this sunlight and din of the crowd and everything. It's
but
like, no, you want to be in like a closed off room.
They didn't bring One Piece though, right?
Not really. No, they just had like a trailer or something
That's
running.
sunny vibes right there. It's coming. It's sun shining. That's a game for that.
So yeah, I'm very positive on how that event worked.
It's good.
I would like the schedule to shift.
Sure.
Because the thing for
Yeah,
me
it's
personally
crazy
is that
for you
like
guys.
to be on the show floor for 2 days and then it's like, oh, Xbox is at 10 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
And then Capcom is the next day, and it's like, and then we just roll into the next week. Mm-hmm. Whereas with E3, it's like everybody's on the same page, everybody is like, kicking butt at the same time, and then everybody's exhausted at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That was kind of the thing about this week that I neglected to realize was like, I was like, okay, Key 3 is done. Now we get to chill. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I have 3 10-hour stream days this week. Like,
Yeah.
and I got to make like 4 easy updates. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never ends.
Yeah.
Not complaining. I love it. Patreon.com/easy.
Also this week, we can talk about this a little bit. PlayStation Plus launched their new service.
Yeah, me and
you guys have
were
been checking it out.
Yeah, we've been messing with it.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yep.
So I wasn't going to get it originally, Bloodworth, because, you could buy a lot of these games a la carte just kind of on their own, which I appreciate. But some of them you needed to sub up for. And the game was Resident Evil Director's Cut.
Right.
And I was like, damn it. I want to play this. So they got me. I told Huber before, like a night or two before, I was like, nah, I'm not going to get it. I'm just going to buy these games.
Yeah.
I have it.
Got you.
So they got me.
The one thing that I was the most curious about was PlayStation 3 streaming. Mm-hmm. And I have the full report. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. I hardwired with my legitimately solid internet capabilities, hardwired into the PlayStation and booted up Batman Arkham Origins.
Okay.
Unplayable.
Ooh.
In my
Yeah.
mind. It's playable, of course, but with a game like that too, with fighting and everything, just the constant stutters, like the input lag, it feels like you throw a punch and like there is just that little delay. Mm-hmm. It's just not the answer. It's not there. And from my limited experience, like I'm gonna boot up Infamous next, but like from my limited experience already, like not a great way to play these games.
Right.
Like worst possible way to play PS3 games is streaming.
I feel like that is on them 100%. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, I played this in a demo unit, probably a dedicated internet line, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I played that Xbox app on the Samsung TV.
Yeah. Hey, I heard everyone's praising that thing, right?
Yeah. The resolution, clearly a step down.
Yeah.
It looks muddy. But I played Halo, and it was snappy. It felt just like playing Halo on my Xbox.
Wow.
Like it really was just as in sync as you could want.
Yeah.
So I could very easily see somebody, picking that up. They have a good internet connection. They're gold. They don't need to buy an Xbox.
We do need to test it here probably on our internet.
Yeah, I would definitely want to see
how it is.
Obviously
Yeah.
I'm not
Even
gonna-
my like home internet, which is like the majority of humans out
Probably
there,
for
like,
most, yeah.
Like my internet is way above average. My home internet, and it was like I can't. Let me know when it's better, because like I'm now just disregarding any streaming PS3 game on that service is like a big X over it. Nope.
Yeah.
I will say though, I saw they added Wild Arms 1. I don't know, and like
Wild
Resident
Arms.
Evil 2 wasn't really Resident Evil 1 wasn't really said before that it was
No.
coming. So I like if they're just like gonna sneak
Yeah,
on
that's what they're gonna do.
games and just keep adding them.
And most of them you could buy separate, but I think like
It
Director's
sounds like they're
Cut
going to refresh
could-
like twice a month or something.
Oh,
like
is
that.
it going to be? Yeah, I have no idea the time frame. But I played a lot of the PS1 games, and they're pretty cool. I had a good time. Like it has like built-in rewind, which is nice and stuff like that. I played Resident Evil. I played Toy Story 2, which is
Hell
a sick
yeah.
game. That
So
game's
Yeah,
fun.
I was so surprised to
Love
see that on the
game.
list.
yeah, that game's tight.
And Toy Story 3 is so good.
Yeah, there's Ape Escape on there, and I've never really played Ape Escape, so I'm looking forward to diving into that. It's cool that some of the games have trophies too. That's really rad. Like not all of them do, which is disappointing, but it's a nice step in the right direction. And there's all the
Dude, Mark of Cree on there.
yeah, Margaret Cree,
So
all those PS2
sick.
games, like all the Dark Clouds are on there, Rogue
Yeah.
Galaxy, all that kind of stuff, which is really rad. And we learned that Stray's going to be on the service later on when that game comes out, which is
Right.
interesting.
Yeah, in terms of the newer games, like it doesn't affect us
Because we own them right
because
now.
we own a lot, but like there was a lot of games on there.
If you're like a new PlayStation 5 owner, like there's some good value there.
yeah.
Yeah, for the extra, the mid-tier.
The mid tier, yeah. So yeah, curious to see how it evolves so far.
Miles Morales is number 1. Downloaded.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Mm-hmm. Video game music finally has its own category in the Grammys.
Yay.
9 years after Austin Wintory was nominated for Journey.
Even longer than that, since the first video game song, Baba Yetu from Civilization 4.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
The new category is titled, this is a mouthful, Best Score Soundtrack for Video Games and Other Interactive Media.
Okay, cool.
Which recognizes excellence in score soundtrack albums comprised predominantly of original scores and created specifically for or as a companion to a current video game or other interactive media released within the qualification period.
Is Last of Us a remake eligible? Let's go.
Right?
Let's go right now.
Yeah, I'm curious how they'll handle that for like re-releases and
Yeah.
such, considering the music was written a long time ago. The Gran Turismo movie is coming out August 11th, 2023.
The premise.
Directed by Neil
It's an
Capaldi.
isekai or whatever the hell.
Come on.
Yeah, based on a true story, teenage Gran Turismo player on PlayStation becomes an actual professional race car driver.
That's crazy.
I like that it kind of actually relates to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's actually about the game. Like the game is a real thing in this movie.
Like it's gonna be like it's a hybrid like real racing movie, but then also this guy just loves like Gran Turismo, so they like
Yeah.
give it love there.
It sounds more exciting than like when they did a Need for Speed movie where it's like, oh, here's Aaron Paul in this, and it's just
Right.
gonna be, like,
dude,
random racing.
that movie's unhinged. The things Aaron Paul says in that movie are nuts.
Boost it.
Assassin's Creed also had a presentation this week with a lot of different announcements, including Odin's roguelite-inspired journey to the spectacular region of Niflheim with the new game mode, The Forgotten Saga.
Are you gonna check this out? You said
I mean,
roguelite.
yeah, I mean, I'm so committed. Dawn of Ragnarok is the worst expansion they've ever done. I'm so comfortable saying that. I am so comfortable making that statement. It's so poor.
Poor.
You know, the celebration, right? They're counting down. They're going backwards from Valhalla all the way to Assassin's Creed 1. Remake 1. I feel like it is so in the cards.
Yeah.
It's the only one that's like not available really on modern. It hasn't been remastered.
Sure, yeah.
They've all, so many of those have been remastered.
A little torn on the Ezio trilogy. It's kind of funky looking at points.
It's fun. Yeah, it's funky. It's funky.
Yeah.
But it's like, I just feel like 1 is so prime for a remake, you know, because you can stay small, take all that detail and just pump it into like this one small thing.
I know they have a million studios, but you gotta get that Prince of Persia remake
they
out
have
first.
they have to fix that first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fix that first.
Aliens Fireteam Elite is getting a new campaign called Pathogen, with looks like some crazy white zombie xenomorphs.
Are those? Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna be the androids.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
Are these?
I don't know if that's
new
going to pull
xenomorphs?
people back in. I feel like that game kind of died out there.
I just don't know how much content there was for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably had a good time.
It's like less than 10 hours. Yeah.
Would you want to do another one?
I would. I want to go
I
in.
think there's like kind of value in like just a
Yeah.
one and done. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if it's priced appropriately.
like World War Z. That game's fun.
yeah, sure.
Super fun.
And then the makers of What the Golf are now working on What the Bat, a VR game where you do all kinds of silly things, but your hands are always baseball bats.
That's funny. That is cool.
Sign me up.
One mission: murder someone.
It's time for Love and Respect.
First thing I'll do.
Love and Respect. From Brandon K. Gann. Hello, everyone. Now that we're on the other side of not E3 news and streams, am I alone feeling incredibly underwhelmed by the presentations? To be clear, I'm not speaking about specific games, as there are several across multiple showcases I'm keeping tabs on. What I mean is the actual packaging and messaging of State of Play, Summer Game Fest, Xbox Showcase, Capcom Showcase. Of those, I would say the State of Play was great, but everything else in one way or another was a disappointment. Granted, as of this writing, I'm stoked for the Final Fantasy VII anniversary stream. et cetera, et cetera. So what do you think? Were the actual shows enjoyable enough and have enough games for you to come away satisfied?
I mean, we saw Last of Us and Resident Evil, which like get me out of bed in the morning.
Yeah,
So I was
I thought
happy.
Capcom was pretty good.
Yeah, it's the reason I breathe.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And we saw both of those this week, so I couldn't be happier.
I didn't watch Microsoft Live. How was that? I know that was a pretty long show, right?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Like they just, again, I think because they were focused more on the next 12 months, like there weren't like the big shocking
hitters.
surprises so much.
Sure.
But I think they showed some solid stuff.
Yeah, and we're still coming out of, not even coming out of it. We're still in the COVID era, so there's all,
Yeah, when I was talking to Jeff, he just
Still-
described it like it's a light year. It's like, what do
Yeah.
you got what you got. Yeah.
Still a factor. And, I saw Jeff getting into it on Twitter after, just talking about the show. How do we do? What do you think? And him just addressing the disappointment, I thought was so perfect because he was just real about it. He was like, yeah, that would have been awesome. This wasn't there. He's like, yeah, that would have been great if it was. He's
Yeah, I'm sure he tried to get everything he could.
It's just what
he
is
was-
being
yeah.
what is being worked on in this industry. Do all the stars align? Will it make it safely to that reveal without getting leaked?
Right.
Yeah.
And just the fact that, as we said, like very limited participation from Sony.
Yep.
Almost no
Nothing
participation from Nintendo. Right.
Today was a huge boon. I factor today into E3.
Today's pretty big.
And even if Nintendo is in like 2 more weeks, like I know that's a huge gap.
It's in a
but,
month.
Like,
E3's a month
it's in
now.
it's E3 month. Like I'll factor that into.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's definitely some like Wholesome. Like I think they have good hosts, but they've got to like
Trim it or figure it out.
they've
less
got to
stuff.
like put more time. Yeah, I think Day of the Devs is a good template for them. It's
Yeah.
like show a dozen games or
Really
20
good.
games at the most, but
Yeah.
we don't have to like show every game under the sun. Like find the things that are really gonna that resonate with people.
But
Yeah.
like I understand their perspective because of so much of us were used to those E3s of like like a week of blitz. It's just like info like boom 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 like craziness. But now things are spread out more. So yeah, I totally see that. But
Yeah, just different area,
Yeah.
I think if you're still holding out hope for those E3s of the past, like you're gonna be disappointed because to me, like that is the hypest thing in this industry. Every single publisher and developer getting together to reveal their stuff in in blockbuster fashion, all the money they used to throw at those press conferences, like excess, out of control hype. And like now it's just, small little room, like roll the trailer, like here it is, way more lower intensity. So, I've adjusted accordingly to that. And as long as they can take advantage of that, Bloodworth, you're talking about the Day of the Devs and stuff, like leaning into that intimacy. Because those huge shows, their strength was spectacle and massive, give me the chills, high budget. Now this way, let's really lean into the devs and show
you're
fewer
literally in
games
people's
more.
living rooms.
Yeah.
In that showcase. Yeah.
Yeah.
or the IMAX.
That's why I like The Last of Us bit, where they were all just there talking about it. Like, obviously, it got leaked and stuff, and it wasn't, the best that way. But then, Day of the Devs, them all talking, love it.
From RJ, greetings, allies. Thank you for the wonderful coverage of Naughty 3 last weekend. One of the biggest discussions before, during, and after the events are leaks. I think I've never seen this many video game leaks, rumors, and everything in between this rampant ever. What do you think about leaks? Should the industry address this as an issue, or is it just a big part of the 4D chess marketing campaign?
I mean, I don't know how you would address it. Devs don't like when their games get leaked.
Yeah.
Obviously, but it just happens. It's been happening for a very long time. Leaks have kind of been around forever, but when people are just hungry for info this time of year, so people got it and they're willing to dish it out.
I despise them. You know how I feel about leaks. I absolutely despise them. It's people are working on something for years. Let them tell you about it. Let them reveal it. And At the same time, I wish it's weird, right? It's like this gray area because like I hate leaks, but I also on the other end of it wish the industry was more transparent.
Sure.
You know, like movies, they just announce, hey, we're doing this. Like it's greenlit. See you in a year or two when we shoot some stuff. Or, you know, budgets. I'm obsessed with video game budgets. Like, let me hear about those budgets. So I wish we had more information that way. But then I also don't like leaks.
Right.
So I guess just information and leaks, though, I feel like are different. There's a fine line there.
I feel like the thing that's been popping up more and more, particularly this year, is like what we were talking about, where it's just like somebody pushed a button on the website at the wrong time. And that stuff you should have control over.
That happens.
That shouldn't be going
PlayStation
on.
Store happens all the time.
Yeah.
Tactics Ogre thing.
Tactics
like,
Ogre.
The Last of Us thing.
Yeah.
It's like monthly with those guys.
Yeah, it wasn't even like insiders doing it or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just whoops, wrong button.
It's a whole different situation than somebody, getting chummy
Getting
with the
a scoop,
journalist.
yeah.
It's just Last of Us can't catch a break.
Right.
I know it's the biggest, but I know it's the highest budget, so you don't want to defend it as much as, you know, the indies and the little ones, but like, damn, the plot leaked before 2, and then now this leaked before the reveal. It's like, if Last of Us Remake got announced, like, I would have been even more blown away because I already had in my mind, remake, like I already had the time to think of like, do we need this?
Right.
You know,
we had already had the story like coming out of leaks like months ago.
Months of
talked about that San Diego studio.
Yeah. Naughty Dog took it over.
Months of forming the thought in your head of like, do we even need this? What even is it like? Versus, hey, we're actually remaking this game. What? The shock of that. Just such a different feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure it'd be a different feeling, yeah.
It's Remake 4, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not to like create a conspiracy theory, but I wonder if Last of Us gets leaked so much because it is such a divisive game. Like, are people doing it to like punish it?
Seriously.
Like, people who hate the game or something? Like, is that a thing? I don't know.
I mean, there's
Probably
gnarly stories about the Naughty Dog crunch. We've heard those stories. If
Yeah.
it's like a disgruntled employee, I don't know. or it's just bad luck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times, like, you've all the Ubisoft leaks over the years was just somebody working on something on an airplane or, some marketing deck. Yeah, I remember back at GT, there were times when, like, because, you'd have the two different sides. Like, you'd have the marketing side and you'd have the editorial side. And, like, somebody would, get a marketing deck in and it's like, this spoils the whole game. Like, what is this here? But it's for people to come up with ideas to throw at them to pitch for what they're going to run for ads or whatever, but it's insane.
I think I hate leaks too because there's like more time for cynicism and like I feel like when something leaks it's like there's more time against it. I don't know. Whereas like just the freeing feeling of like something gets announced and you don't even have time to think about it. Nothing matters except that moment, that announcement. It's just like so pure and judgment free.
I don't think it's judgment free at all. I think I would have been much harsher on The Last of Us remake if I didn't know about it already.
A few minutes later, yeah, but like I'm just saying right in the announcement, right in the moment of a reveal. I love that moment.
Oh, sure, but like I'd be judging. Yeah. I'm going to form an opinion in like 5 seconds, no matter what.
Sure.
Well, no, there's something to be said about controlling the message, right? Like, if you get something leaked, like, random stuff gets out there, and then everyone starts forming opinions on stuff that's only, like, a third of the picture,
Yeah, or the things that are, like, if it's something where there's, like, actual details, and, you get something that's going to get scrapped, and that's part of the leak, and, like, well, wait, what? People already have a bad opinion of something because it was just, like, literally half-baked.
Literally.
Yeah. I think of the Mario Rabbids Kingdom battle,
right?
Where like they were like badass Peach, whatever, and like everyone was just like I was like, this game looks terrible, and then when they actually announced it, I flipped 180. I was like, this looks amazing, and then I ended up playing it and loving it. So it's just like, the leaks can be so misleading.
From Kevin. Loving all the consoles and own them all, but I'm wondering what you think will happen if last gen's results repeat for Xbox, considering Microsoft has spent so much on acquisitions. We know Sony says they think they will sell 18 million and 20 million and more than PS4, they say, as stock improves in 2023 plus. Xbox Series is doing better than Xbox One, but from the little we know about sales, they look to sell 10 to 12 million per year this year. And that looks like the ceiling, barring unforeseen events. Still great, of course. So let's say both do well and make gains from last gen, but Xbox Series still gets outsold by double by PlayStation 5. What would you do if you're Microsoft? And then there's a little bit more about Disney Plus and Amazon and whether people would put their things on the other console, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, sure. Well, I guess in terms of Microsoft, they're playing a different game than they were back in the last generation. They're like about getting Xbox games on everything as much as possible. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they want their games on PlayStation stuff more in the future. Like, why wouldn't they? That's their strategy nowadays. And also, Microsoft has so much money. They have way more money to burn than Sony.
Yeah.
Way more money. So they could take a hit and be totally fine. It's completely different for them.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like, I feel like we're getting into an arena where, you know, because it used to be the console war, it used to be Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft. Then it was just Microsoft and Sony, and Nintendo's crushing it at its own thing. Now I feel like it's going to be just three separate games. Like Sony doing the traditional console thing, Microsoft doing the Netflix of games thing, and Nintendo just still being a weird old monkey paw. But, like, yeah, I don't know.
Incredible value.
Incredible value.
Incredible value.
But yeah,
Game
that's the
Pass.
thing. Is like, I think that what we're probably going to see by next gen is that sales of consoles are going to become secondary, right? Because
Subs.
Sony's expanding into PC.
True.
You know, Sony's just now kind of trying to catch up with Game Pass. And I talked about that, you know, Samsung Gaming Hub on, you know, the Xbox app on the Samsung Gaming Hub is like, you can just log into your account and play it on your TV.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, you don't have to have an Xbox to play all of their games and be a subscriber. So yeah, it's getting into a very different territory, and I don't think. The funny thing is kind of as we can already see right now with like both of these consoles like outselling their predecessors, is that doesn't mean consoles are going away. It just means like their significance in the overall picture is going to be a bit smaller because, okay, now Sony has all this growth they can make up on PC, and Xbox has all this growth they can get through, you know, getting people that are only going to ever play on their phone or on their TV and never going to spend $400, $500 on a console.
Yeah, like there's always going to be people that just want to play on a console, so they're going to be just fine on those boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Nintendo, they ain't putting anything on anything else till like they're desperate, and they're doing just fine for now.
Living in their own world.
Yeah.
Their own kingdom.
Yeah.
It's time for bets. This week's bet. Sonic Origins releases next Thursday, June 23rd. I'm going to go to the official Twitter account for Sonic the Hedgehog and look for the most recent image tweet. Could be fan art, could be a meme, could be an apology letter. It just has to be a still image uploaded by the official account, not a retweet. How many retweets will that tweet have? And for reference, when I checked last night, there was an image from June 10th of Amy Rose doing tarot card readers for her animal friends, and it had 4,075 retweets. Brad.
That's a hard one to top. 4,500 for that. It seems like the high mark.
For that, seems high. I'm going to say 8K though. Origins is coming out.
8,000?
Yeah. People are hyped.
Huber.
Sonic's at all-time high.
2,100.
2,100.
Oh, good. I like that.
Blackjack.
Isla.
4,075.
4,000. Oh, exactly the same.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And then I did 3,123.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2.
Last week's bet. One thing we did not have time for, we went real long anyways, this week was the May NPD report. And last week I asked the panel that when I checked the top 20, I wanted to know where Evil Dead the game would land.
Right.
Huber, bet 13th place.
Hell yeah.
Ben
13.
also bet 13th place.
Hell yeah. Why wouldn't-
Damiani bet 18th place. Isla said it'd be off the chart, 21 or over,
Ouch.
not even listed.
Harsh.
And then I said it would be 7th place. Last month, Evil Dead came in at number 4.
Wow.
It was actually the only new title in the month to chart.
Damn.
Evil
Wow.
Dead. That is a win.
Strength in the IP.
That
Happy
feels
to be
good.
wrong on that. Feels good.
Yeah. Mario Kart 8, still number 8.
It feels right. That's
What was
right.
number
That's
1?
correct.
Just tell me number 1.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Yep.
Feels good too.
Good pick.
Don't tell me
everyone.
anymore, because then you have to tell me all of them.
Right,
Stop there.
right. So that means I'm the winner. Bringing in the scores to Massive Chubbs 11, Splish, and Malodorous Sea Lions 10. Let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. I had a whole thing. I'll do that some other week. It's basically the way that you can support us. Everything that we do is because of fan funding. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, we just hired Gabby. And
Show yourself, Gabby.
Hi, Gabby.
Show yourself, Gabby. That's Matthew Walden. He's the guest on
Yeah.
tonight's episode of Reaction.
Matt Walden.
That's not Gabby. Gabby is next to him.
Matt Walden worked with us at GT, if you're not aware.
True.
And yeah, so we all used to work at Game Trailers, and then we came back because of the support of our fans. And you can join us at Patreon, chip in as much or as little as you like, but the more support, the more people that give in a little bit, the more that we can do and the longer that we can keep running. So if you are a $1 patron, you get access to an extended ad-free version of this podcast every week. And if you're at $5, you get the podcast a couple days early, and you get to submit to Love and Respect. And there are a bunch of other tiers. What's that?
We can now say. We won't say specifically a day yet, but we're working on setting up our Discord, which
Yeah.
will get at $5 and up. Every tier that would need a channel will get its own channel too, like Film Club will have one, and Play With Us, obviously, and behind the scenes and stuff like that. So yeah, we're going to have our first official patron Discord. Gabby's been setting up roles and all this stuff. Yep. Very exciting stuff. That's at $5 and up, Patreon, starting soon. Maybe, next week. I don't know, whatever.
And then the people that give us the high dollar amounts, the top 3 tiers, they get shout outs on our podcasts every week. And this month's shout outs go to Javawabs, Elthanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Caleb, Togi Crawford, Nick, and Anna Croft. Shout out.
I forgot.
Since I won that bet, I get to promote any Easy Allies video I'd like to promote. I get the final word on anything I've disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped in my head. And I get to sign off with the trademark sign off. Video I'd like to promote. Check out our Summer Game Fest impressions, particularly that day 2 with Day of the Devs, and day 1 as well, like Street Fighter, all that stuff. It's really great. Getting back on a show floor and getting like just the concentrated amount of things there, because I think the difference with sort of like the remote previews, and I'll just make this my final word too, is that for when you have remote previews, it feels like you have to plan like each single one of these things as its own event, and it makes it a lot harder to do volume, because it's like, okay, we got to do the preview, and then we got to shoot the thing, and then we got to cut the thing and all that. Whereas like when you do something like E3 or Summer Game Fest that we did this last week, it's like, okay, I'm here. I need to do something with myself, and things that I would not have taken time for otherwise, like Escape Academy. I just like, no, I probably won't do that. Like, well, I have time, so let me play Escape Academy, and I really liked it, and I got to talk about it. And because we're just like rapid firing out all these things and covering the show, it really does make a difference compared to trying to set up a bunch of remote appointments. So yeah, check those out, and we'll see you before the next Blood Moon Rises.
Nintendo just still being a weird old monkey paw.